We got a lot to talk about today. Yes, we do. Welcome, Tuesday edition of the Bill Michaels Show. And anger, panic has started to set in. I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest with you. But the Brewers lose yesterday. Weren't able to plate a run, 6 hits, no runs, couple of errors on the day as well. They get beat by the Baltimore Orioles, who get their first win of the season, a very bad baseball team. The Brewers now stand at 1-3. Oddly enough, same record as the Orioles at 1-3. And now I'm getting and I posted this over on the Facebook fan page. So if you follow us over there, feel free to head over to the Facebook fan page and see for yourself kind of, what some of the people are saying. More 3 tweets that were, one, they didn't have profanities in them, and others that were very similar. So it was kind of the sentiment, whether it was email, whether it was Facebook, whether it was Twitter last night, whatever. That's kind of the mentality, the thought process now of many. And just a couple of them. One is they sucked all September, and in the postseason, it's becoming a little alarming, talking about the offense. Another one asking me, how can I be tired of the fans complaining about the Brewers once again poor hitting with runners on base? 5th inning right now, and they've already had 10 on base. This is a trend that has been happening for years, and I seem to think it's rare. Another one is Counsell was too loyal to Yelich and others to adjust the lineup. We keep hearing how the great pitching staff is, but you still have to score runs to win games. And this was coming pretty fast and furious yesterday as the Brewers lose to the Orioles. I want to know, and it's over on Facebook, so if you want to chime in there, you can. You can hit us up on Twitter, at Bill__ Michaels. I want to know what you feel. I'm not. Look, my opinion is, and has pretty much always been pretty steadfast in the sense of it's early. You're 4 games into the season. It's early. I am not worried about this at all. Not at all. I think the pitching staff is good. I think, the offense is what it is. I think they've added some bats to it. And baseball, out of all the sports, in basketball, who's going to be good. You can look at it. You can look at the team. You can look at the veterans. You can look at star players. You can say, okay, that team's going to be good. You pretty much know that. In football, you can kind of look at the quarterbacks and say, okay, this team has got 8 wins, 10 wins, 12 wins, more than that. You can look at it and say, okay, this is what they have. This is what I believe they're going to do. You can look at that. Baseball, you can't. You can't. Baseball is the ultimate marathon, and what you do today in the first week of the season really, for the most part, has no bearing on what you do in the last week of the season, or what you do in July, or what you do in August, or what you do in September. And certainly, it's very rare do you do exactly the same thing game in, game out, week in, week out, season in, and season out. It's baseball's just different. Otherwise, you'd have, if you won 20 games this year, you should win 20 games the rest of your career because that's what you did. It carries over. No, it doesn't. Not if you know baseball. It does not. We all know that. But yet there is this belief that, well, the Brewers can't hit last year, so you had to get rid of the hitting coach. The year before that, had to get rid of the hitting coach. Had to get rid of the hitting coach the year before that. So now they got 2 of them. They got rid of pitching coaches. It was the pitching coach's fault. Then the pitching was great last year. We didn't hear anything about the pitching coaches last year because everything was good. Now they got 2 new hitting coaches, but it stinks and it carries over every year. No, it doesn't. You see different pitchers. You see different pitches. You see different scenarios. You see different stadiums, being in Baltimore. You don't. The playing conditions, the weather, the wind, the sun, the rain, whatever it happens to be, they're the same for both teams. Okay, that's what's level regarding the playing field. But beyond that, no. Everything changes year in to year out. Last year, the Brewers started off the season 1-3. Somebody had posted that they had scored 11 runs and had 20 against them. This year, the Brewers have started 1-3. They've scored 9 runs and 20 runs against them. The Brewers ended up winning 95 games last year. So the numbers, if you want to look at it that way, they're very similar. So they don't suck. They should end up winning 95 games if you want to base it upon what they did the year before. I'm not making excuses because everybody had a shortened spring. Everybody's been playing in weird weather. I mean, I'm talking about, both the Brewers and the Cubs, the Brewers and the Orioles. You've had to you face teams in the same elements. Okay. Now, if say you're comparing them to the Dodgers, who play in different weather, or Miami, who plays in different weather, and you can talk about home runs, the ball jumping off the bat versus this. Okay, that I understand. But if you just look at the numbers of the two teams that they've faced and what the Brewers have done, the Brewers just the bottom line is they've gotten off to a slow start. The clutch hitting has not been there. I agree. The pitching has not been there. I agree. But I'm not sitting here saying it's problematic. It's year to year. It's same old, same old. If you're going to look at certain guys and say, okay, you need to produce. I said coming into this season, it's a prove-it year for Christian Yelich. I 100% agree with that. I think that this is, as it creeps toward the end, this is the last year for Lorenzo Cain, who's trying to go out with a bang. I like McCutchen and leadership. I think this team has lacked that over the last year or so. But it's tough to be that rah-rah guy, that leader guy, in a long 162-game baseball season. So are you where do you fall? Where do you fall? I'm just asking a question without giving you a ton of opinion at this point, although you've already heard pretty much of mine. I'm not panicking. I'm not living here with a bunch of angst. I'm just good with it. I'm excited for them to come back home and face the Cardinals on Thursday. I'm excited for our broadcast and the home opener. I'm looking forward to all of that. And if they lose 2 more to the Orioles and they come back home and they get home cooking and they get back in their own beds and they feel good and suddenly they begin to, kind of take off with their season, then all this goes by the wayside. I'm not upset about it right now. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us your opinion, hit us up, please. I'm because I'm so interested as to why 4 games into a season you are in the panic mode. Bazooka DHB hits us up over on Twitter, says, this is what sticks with me. Same crap every year. The clock is ticking on Burns, Woodruff, and Hader. Eventually, they're going to be due for massive contracts, and the Brewers will not offer them. Chi-Town's Finest hits me up and says, I love listening to Brewers fans whine about their team. They've been nothing but winners the last couple of years, and yet every year they're second guessed in the very beginning. Unlike us down here in Chicago, who we know our team is going to suck and is not going to get to the postseason. The Brewers have every reason to believe that they're going to be in the postseason and should win in the postseason. It's a short period of time in a very long season, and people are already jumping off the bridge. LOL. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you because I think it's ridiculous to get this upset this early in the season. It's frustrating. Look, as a fan, you want to win. I get it. I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I'm looking at is you can't be sitting here going, oh, Counsell's too loyal, same old stuff. And remember, it was the same old stuff last year, and they wanted to change hitting coaches, so they did. Not only 1, but 2. So, in other words, if it's not them, then it's the personnel. Well, Who do you want to get rid of? Who do you want to get rid of this early in the season? Now, what are you saying, that it's David Stearns? It's David Stearns' fault? Mark says, not getting anything out of Christian Yelich. How can people be so high on this guy? Christian Yelich is batting .364. He's got an OPS of .984. No huge numbers when it comes to home runs. A couple of RBI on the season. He has struck out with men in scoring position. I understand that. But he's hitting. He's hitting. Rowdy Tellez, we were worried about him. Now, granted, he only has 8 at-bats, but he's hitting .375. Couple of RBI, a home run already. The team only has 3 home runs. One of them's by Brousseau. The other one's by Willie Adames. Adames hitting .267, about where you were kind of hoping he would be, maybe a little bit higher. McCutchen, he's .250 with 16 at-bats. You'd like to see him bring it up a little bit, get to .265, .270. A couple of hits here or there, and suddenly that's where he's at. I mean, it's so early. It's so early. And I said, look, guys will tear it up in spring training, and then it takes you, once it's for real, it's just different. It's just different. Colton Wong off to a really slow start. Hunter Renfroe, almost non-existent at this point. Tyrone Taylor, who was just lighting it up in spring training, not much. It's only played in 3 games. 1 for 8. Lorenzo Cain, 125, 1 for 8. I mean, you can't go by what's such an incredibly small sample size. Nobody has over 17 at-bats yet. Robin says, Bambi's Bombers, 1982. Now, that was a team that could hit. We got to go back to 1982. Do you not remember 2008? 2011? When you had Fielder and company? Braun? Corey Hart? Ricky Weeks? Billy Hall? Team had a few bombers on it. Ryan Braun in his heyday. You had some guys that could hit. It's 4 games. I don't know what else to say. This is from Jason. Jason says, let's be honest, it's the same old, same guys, same team, same lineup, same manager. The only thing they keep redoing is the coaches around Counsell. It all has to be thrown out and start over. Really? All has to be thrown out and started over. Wow. 4 games into a season. Whew. I'm stunned. Honestly. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. And don't forget, coming up on Thursday morning, this time in 48 hours, we will be live. We'll be at Stenny's. It'll be opening day at American Family Field. The weather looks to suck, so don't worry about tailgating. Come and tailgate with us. Tailgate with us. We're going to be opening up 10 a.m. Stenny, 2nd and National, Walker's Point. We're going to have the Bud Lights and the Budweiser going, the Bill Michaels garlic cheese bread, Bloody Marys. We're going to have food, wings, burgers, brews, all that kind of good stuff. Send you over to the game on the shuttles. Come on back and enjoy yourself. Can't wait for opening day. The home opener coming up this Thursday. Like I said, it's going to kind of suck weather-wise. It's going to be really windy and only a high of 40. They're talking about wind chills in the upper 20s, low 30s. So come on down and enjoy your opening day with us. We're going to have a lot of great people on site as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
How we looking? Bill Michaels Show. We can continue on talking a little Brewers baseball. Brewers get beaten yesterday. And as the game wound down, the level of angst, I guess might be the best way to put it, began to really ratchet up in a big way. And I just found it so interesting that people are ready to just throw the baby out with the bathwater, like the season's over. Same old, same old. This is awful. They're not going to win anything. The postseason's done. It's bad. And I was just so surprised by that. Just so surprised by all of that. This is Craig Counsell after the game yesterday.
Well, today wasn't a good day. We didn't get much going early at all. I don't know if we had a man on third base today. Maybe once. So not good enough today. Well, yeah. We didn't. It wasn't a day where we were unlucky. We didn't hit balls hard and have them caught. We didn't square up baseballs today. It was fairly weak contact. Jace hit a ball pretty good in center field. It's really the only one I can recall that we squared up really good.
That was it from Craig Counsell. They just didn't hit the ball yesterday. Hopefully today is different. But statistically speaking, yeah, the team's not hitting great right now. I can agree with that. By the way, today's game, I believe 6:05 Central Time. If I'm not mistaken, 6:05 Central Time today. So an evening game, the first evening game for the Brewers, as a matter of fact. So tonight, you get that sit at home, grill a little something, because today's going to be kind of a warm day. Make a little something, sit back, relax, watch a little baseball, enjoy yourself tonight, that type of thing. Looking forward to that. But I want to say Brewers fans, but if you're a fan of the Brewers, you're probably frustrated that they haven't gotten off to a fast start, that they're sitting here at 1-3. Okay, that I understand. But, man, to be this upset this early after 4 games, I think people are jumping off the bridge a little bit. Justin said it's the first week with a shortened spring training. Let's calm down and let's play the let's let the kinks get worked out early instead of failing at the end of the season. No worries here. Love the crew. Brantley, seriously, people, chill out. Do you all understand baseball or sports in general? Arguably the best hitter in baseball, Mike Trout, is batting .231 with 1 home run. The Brewers are going to be fine, just like I've been saying. They played 4 games. That's it. Yeah, when you talk about the best players in the sport, not everybody gets off to an incredibly fast start. And by the way, your average can dip dramatically or rise dramatically. You get a couple of hits. Say tonight, Christian Yelich goes 2 for 4. All of a sudden, he's batting near 400, and his numbers are huge. Because it's such an incredibly small litmus test. Or somebody tonight batting 125 who's 1 for 8, you go 3 for 3, and all of a sudden your average is way above what your baseball card would be. That's what can happen in one day right now because of the small sample size. Things begin to equal out. Things begin to come back to where the actual back of your baseball card is. So you don't worry about that too much. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please do it. Hey, the other piece of good news, I guess, if you want to look at it this way, the Chicago Cubs pitcher, Keegan Thompson, he was suspended 3 games already this season. We got a suspension, and it's Keegan Thompson for throwing the ball at McCutchen. One time, yeah, you're pretty good with that, okay? Again, got away from me, hit him in the butt, whatever. But the second time when you went right at him, you knew that was coming. So the Cubs get Keegan Thompson suspended for 3 games. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please do so. Adam says, Unit's been 4 games, 3 games in the blank Chicago, 40 degrees weather and small spring season. Relax. This is also from Sam, who says, what the F is wrong with people? I can't believe how quick this fan base has to turn around and eat its own words. It's 4 games. A little advice from Aaron Rodgers. RELAX. RELAX. I hate to use that term. It almost makes me feel icky. The word relax has been directly and forever will be attached to Aaron Rodgers. It just will be. And I don't know why, it just makes me feel icky. I'm not, again, I'm not overly concerned about it, but some are. 877-867-1670. Zach says, the thing that bugs me about the Brewers is the lack of ability to put the ball in play. You look at those games against the Cubs were putting up great at-bats and fighting off pitches. Mark says that the weather at Wrigley was awful, not conducive to hitting. Why are people getting all bent out of shape? Well, no, wait a minute. Let me go back to something here. The Brewers aren't a warm weather team. They're a dome team, but they have not played in a dome yet this year. The Cubs played in cold weather. And they were able to fight off pitches. They were able to hit the ball. They were able to put the ball in play. They were able to they were able to do things to win a ball game. Not once, but twice. They lost one, clutch, pinch hit, home run. And that was the difference in the game for the Brewers. The Brewers played outdoors, same condition against the Orioles. It's not like the Cubs and the Orioles, when they're at bat, it's 84 degrees and sunny, and the Brewers, look, it's an even playing field. The Brewers aren't winning. Those other teams are. That I look at, okay? But I also look at it as the only difference is the Brewers have pretty much been on the road. They were in Arizona. They came home for a one-day workout. Then they went to Chicago for 4 days because of the rainout. And now they're in Baltimore, and they haven't been home yet. They haven't stayed in their own beds. Okay, that I can say is a little bit different. The road trip itself to start the season, that's different. Everything else is the same. The weather, all that stuff, that to me doesn't matter. Because if you lose and you say, well, I'm blaming it on the weather, or I'm blaming it on the ball not carrying, I'm blaming it on this and that, when the other team has to play in the exact same element, okay, that's a wash. That doesn't mean anything. If I see a team that doesn't have the ability to go low and away, and every batter doesn't have the ability to put the ball in play because they just don't give you the tools to do so. Hitting coaches don't work with you to do certain things as a major league player to say, this is what we need to do to be able to better ourselves. Maybe you're not looking at the right film. Maybe you're not getting a right foyer of pitches that are going to be coming at you. Maybe the information gathering that has been given to you is erroneous. Maybe your hitting video coordinator has not put together the right amount of pitches from this particular pitcher to you. Maybe you're guessing wrong. Okay, that I get. That's an uneven playing field. But the weather? The weather doesn't mean anything. Everybody's got to do it. Everybody's got to do it. So that doesn't bother me at all. Zach says working the counts and racking up Brewers pitch counts. Those are things that have cost the Brewers. Some patience. Yeah, I get it. It depends on who you're facing. If the guy's a first ball, fastball guy and you want to jump on it and you're trying to do that, there's a philosophy to go into the plate. Scott says 158 games left, Brewers fans. Whoa. I get it. Adrian Hauser talking yesterday after the ball game, just didn't have that great command.
Yeah, I think it all starts there was command. Didn't really establish the zone early, wasn't able to get ahead in the count early, and it just fell apart from there. It all starts with the command, and something I need to hammer down over these next few days and get back going for the next start.
There you go. Adrian Hauser after the game. Got to get it going for the next start. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. This portion of the program also brought to you by our friends at Albanese's Roadhouse. Hey, Joey, our buddy Joey Albanese, looking for bocce ball games. So if you got some bocce ball players out there, maybe that's what you want to do. They also, by the way, which they have those leagues coming up, but they also, by the way, have their specialty bourbon selection now. Over 35. A lot of Van Winkle, 10, 12, and 15-year bourbon. Elijah Craig, Buffalo Trace, all that stuff. All the Eagle Rare, they have that as well. If you're a bourbon collector, bourbon drinker, check out Albanese's Roadhouse right there on Blue Mountain Road in Waukesha next to Menards. Stop in, tell Joey either one, we said hi, or two, say you want to sign up for the Bocce Ball League, or just get something to eat. Really good stuff there. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The NASCAR Series returns. Secure your tickets to see the big guns roar around the road course in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. For all the racing information, go to roadamerica.com. That is roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Our friends over at Burn Pit Barbecue. If you're looking to fire up the barbecue on Thursday, maybe have some of this stuff around. If you don't, you should probably get it. Go to burnpitbbq.com. That's burnpitbbq.com for all the different flavored sauces. Now they've got a whole line of rubs. They've got the hot sauces as well, and it's just good. They're veteran-owned, based right here in Racine, Wisconsin. So support some veteran-owned business, locally owned and veteran-owned business. Go to burnpitbbq.com. That is burnpitbbq.com. And a reminder, once again, we're going to be live from Steny, Second and National Walker's Point. Coming up on Thursday, in less than 48 hours, the broadcast is going to emanate from Steny's, getting you ready for the opening day, the home opener for the Milwaukee Brewers. It is going to be craptastic weather, apparently, in the city of Milwaukee. It's going to be like low 40s with high winds, wind chill into the low 30s, upper 20s, kind of nasty. So don't tailgate. Come on out. Enjoy yourself. Come on down to Steny's. You can even jump on the shuttle. Let somebody else do the driving. Take the shuttle over to American Family Field. Go see the game. Come back. That way you can enjoy the festivities of the day and not even have to worry about driving. So good stuff. Come on by and join the program. 10 to 2. 10 to 2 we're going to be there coming up on Thursday. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, do it. You can find us there. Also, you can track us down over on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, at Bill_Michaels. Facebook fan page, go to facebook.com/The Bill Michaels Show, and you can watch us there as well, or you can chime into some of the things that are being said over on the Facebook fan page. Go to youtube.com. You can subscribe for free to the program, youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show, and subscribe and watch and all that kind of good stuff over there. And in addition, you can also do some stuff with us over on Twitch TV. You can email the program as well. So a lot of good stuff. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Adam says, unit 4 games, 3 games in blanky conditions. No worries. This is Dr. Mike, who says, not worried at all about my Milwaukee Brewers. Looking forward to the home opener. We'll see you at Steny's. Mommy says, come on, blank. Are people just effing crazy? It's only 4 games. I'm going to sit back, relax, and watch the Crew tonight. And if they get a win, does that mean everybody's going to then think they're going to win the World Series? Let's get real. That's from Mommy. Sometimes you take your best advice from your mom. I don't know whose mommy you are, but good for them. Ben, has it been the same? Are people complaining about the Brewers? Were you hanging out with the morning show today?
Yeah, it was, along the same lines. I think there's complaining, but the sky's definitely not falling. I was watching some of the games this weekend with one of my Milwaukee fan friends, and I think I told you this yesterday. He said, I don't think it's too early to call the season. They're done. Part of it was a little sarcastic.
Right.
No, they lost. They got shut out by the awful Orioles. There's complaining. Yeah. But I'm in a good spot.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm like, I keep saying, you can't win the division in April. You can lose it. Let's just say the Brewers come out of April with only, say, 2 wins, 3 wins. Absolutely. And then you've dug yourself such a hole that you may not be able to recover. That I understand. But I'm, 4 games in, you got to be hitting the 5-mast skull bong if you think everything's gone right now. Unless you're a fan of, say, or lack thereof, of, say, a team like the Orioles or the Royals or the Tigers or the Cubs or the Pirates. If you look at it and you're 1-3, you're probably thinking, God, you got to win. If you're looking at it with the Brewers, your expectation is you're going to win the division. So to start out 1-3, not be hitting the ball, not getting your clutch hits, pitching hasn't been great. You're looking at this going, whoa, this is not the team that they were predicted to be because your expectations are so high. But again, it's 4 games. You're 4 games into the season. It's not like an NFL season where after 4 games in and you're 1-3, you're really behind the 8 ball. That, and even then you can still, if you got a good team, you can still come back and win your division. That's not a problem. But in baseball, it's 4 games in. That's nothing. That is nothing. So not concerned at all.
Yeah, I don't even know if this is equitable to the Packers game in Jacksonville against the Saints last year. They lost that, but I felt like that even carried more weight than these 4 games.
And even then, You thought my thought watching that Jacksonville game last year against the Saints was the Packers thought they were going to roll the helmets out and get a win. They didn't take, because the rumors you heard coming out of training camp were it wasn't we got down to business and we got ready for the season and we were back to work. It was all about, it was an Aaron Rodgers kiss ass reunion. That's what the training camp was last year for the Packers. It wasn't about, and we're going to talk about Rodgers coming up later in the program, but it wasn't about getting down to business. That game was the slap in the face. That was the wake up game for Matt LaFleur to come back to Green Bay and go, all right, now pull your heads out of your rear ends. Now it's time to get down to work, which is what they should have been doing all along. They just didn't, unfortunately. Not that it really mattered, because they still ended up number one in the conference and still with the one and done when it came to their postseason hopes. So anyway, this one's from our buddy Steve, who said, I couldn't agree more with you about the Brewers. We're 4 games into the season and people already getting ready to jump ship. I remember when I was a kid and the Brewers came here from Seattle when the team was just craptacular. It is very early. Remember the 1987 Brewer team starting 12-0 and they finished 3rd. They will go on a streak when they win 12 out of 15 or 16, and then things are all going to be better. There are streaks on both sides during a 162-game season. In the words of Aaron Rodgers, here we go, RELAX. I just feel creepy doing that. I can't even tell friends anymore, hey, just relax. Because everybody goes, oh, Aaron Rodgers, RELAX. I've got to figure out something. Just breathe. Just breathe easy. You know, you want to say relax. Just take a chill. That's so 80s. 80s and 90s. Just chill, man. Just chill. Oh, God. All I keep thinking about is Spicoli, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. This is from Brantley, who says, just let's put it in perspective. The Brewers have played 2% of their games. Right? Chris also says, hey, Bill, what was the last Major League Baseball team to have an undefeated season? Chris, you bring sensibility to an otherwise senseless moment. I appreciate that. I know there are some out there that believe that the same problems from last year have lingered into this year. I know there are some that believe that, Craig Counsell is not the manager they want for whatever reason. I know there are some that believe Christian Yelich is a wasteoid and was a horrible, horrible signing. And I get that. Everybody, for those people, always seem to be in the rebuild mode. Save the money, invest in the minor league system, which would be an eternity. You'd never get good, because even the teams that bring up good talent and have talent that, funnels through the farm system needs to go out and get free agents and trades and such. So not one team is 100%. The last time a team was 100% homegrown was probably the Cincinnati Reds, as they were the first Major League Baseball team ever. Their first team, that first year, the first group of guys they ever put together, the first group of guys they ever paid, their first game, they were probably the first homegrown team. They weren't making trades and making deals and free agency. That was it. That's probably the last team that ever had 100% of their franchise chosen through 100% of their franchise. That's it. 877-867-1670. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. Don't forget, we're going to have the press conferences from up in Green Bay today coming up. We're going to talk some about Aaron Rodgers today. We're going to talk some about the NFL draft today. Cam Newton has stepped in it. And LeBron, what the hell are you talking about? Stay tuned. We got a lot of the Bill Michaels Show to get to yet today. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Buy more, save more with a patio door.
Wait, what?
Right now, at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, the more windows you buy, the more you'll be saving by adding a patio door.
Miss Della from Pella?
Please, call me Gina.
Okay, Gina Della from Pella? Like, I was told there'd be no map.
Like, that's okay. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin makes it easy. Now through April 30th, when you buy 3 Pella windows, you'll save $500 when you add a patio door. Buy 6, save $1,000 with a patio door. Buy a dozen Pella windows, save $2,000 when you...
Add a patio door?
Correct. And along with 6 full lines of windows, traditional to contemporary, Pella of Wisconsin has financing to fit most any budget.
Awesome.
Buy more, save more with a patio door, but only through April 30th. Set your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
We continue on. Got a lot coming up. Going to talk some about Aaron Rodgers. Going to talk some about Cam Newton, LeBron James we've got to get to. We're going to take a look into the NFL draft. So there's a lot coming up on the program. This portion of the program, though, brought to you by our friends at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. Go to wishd.com. I know yesterday, certainly, I heard a lot of motorcycles out on the roads. Today, this morning, the same thing, although it's clouding up a little bit. But nevertheless, going to be warm today, warm tomorrow, and then we take a dive back in. So get out and ride while you can. And if you get the riding spirit, head out to Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. Go to wishd.com. That's wishd.com. Highway 67 in Oconomowoc, just south of 94. and a whole bunch of new motor clothes and new motorcycles coming in almost on a daily basis. So every day you're going to find something new, most likely, out there at Wisconsin Harley-Davidson. Stop in, tell Craig and the guys we said hi. Good people out there, Wisconsin Harley-Davidson in Oconomowoc. Talking about the Brewers, and I want to kind of wrap this hour up in this discussion. This one is from Brentley. No, we already did that one. This was from Brian, who said, rather have them lose now than in October. And Bruce says, no panic here. I think the majority of people, okay, the majority of people feel that it's, one, it's a long season. Two, we have come to understand in baseball, you don't react right away. I think and I know it's tough because we live emotionally day to day. We are very much a fast food society. We are a one-click away world. We want it here. We want it now. We want it without problems, and we want it damn near perfect. And if it's not, we're going to complain about it. That's what we are in today's day and age, unfortunately. So when the Brewers don't win and things go wrong, and you can nitpick each and every little thing that says this is what led them away from victory, you're going to do it. I get it. I've sat there and watched with men on base, with runners in scoring position in that game in which they were 1 for 10 against the Cubs. I was just beside myself. I'm like, how can you not make contact? I'm not talking even about bunting. Okay. I'm not getting into that. I'm just talking generally about just the ability to put the ball in play. You know, the ability. Now, I know guys are throwing much harder than they did 20 years ago, okay, where you consistently 92 to 95 miles an hour, maybe even 96, okay, consistently. It used to be 88 to 91. Anything over 90 was huge. Now it's 90 is, you know, if you throw 90, 91, it's kind of like, you're okay, but you're not in that upper echelon unless you got a lot of movement because, you know, big league hitters are going to catch up with you so quickly. So I get it. It doesn't give you as much time, that extra split second to react and lean into a pitch, go the opposite way. It's easy for us with the enhanced vision of baseball, where we see pitches going. I understand all of that. I still find myself getting frustrated, getting angry, but I also have the reality in the back of my head to say, it's a game. It's one game. It's a game. It's 4 games. You can't really tell anything about a baseball season until you get into mid-May, at least. You know, I don't know how else to kind of really go about looking at the beginning of a season. If the losing persists, okay, and they lose the series to the Orioles, they lose the series to the Cardinals, and that continues. Yeah, you know what? Then I'm going to start to scratch my head a little bit and start to have some anxiety. Absolutely. Because like I said, you can't win the division in April. You can lose it. You can go on a losing streak that puts you so far behind the 8 ball, it is really hard to run and catch up for an entire season, because that's what you do. You spend the rest of your season just running and sprinting to try to at least just catch the top of the division. And when you get there, you can't take your foot off the gas. That's not the end line, because the season is the end line. And even then, if you're going to win the division, the season isn't the end line. It's the postseason. So you can spend a lot of energy just trying to catch up. So I understand that. I understand where the anxiety is. But to say it's same old, and act as if people need to be fired and you're not going to get any better and they've lost the division and throwing your hands in the air, it's like, no. Come on. Let's be reasonable here. You know? Sean says they've had luck with starters and had a great end of bullpen, but they never try to improve the offense. They go to the bottom of the barrel free agents. I did like McCutchen since Kane is pretty much washed up. That's from Sean. And Lorenzo Cain, I'm hoping, has a decent season. I don't know what else to say there. I mean, I hope that being healthy completely, I hope that kind of gives him that a bit. I mean, remember, because people were all over Lorenzo Cain in a positive way. Look what he's doing in spring training. I said, whoa, wait a minute. As much as I kind of curtail the optimism, I also don't get as down on a guy in spring training as I would into the regular season. So again, he's only had 8 at-bats. He goes 2 for 3 today, and it's completely changed. It's not washed up, not over the hill. Wait till the end of the season. They only have 7 extra base hits. He's got 1 of them. Give him credit. McCutcheon's got 2. That was a good signing. Said that all along. Willie Adames hitting the ball okay. Colton Wong off to a little bit of a struggle. Hunter Renfroe off to a struggle. 1 for 14. I understand it. But let's just kind of breathe easy, because for as much grief as people are giving Christian Yelich, 4 for 11, 364. I mentioned this before, but some of his key moments for either and or strikeout, pop up, what have you, weak ground ball has been in situations where there's been runners in scoring position. So let's not get crazy. Let's not get crazy. And Green Thumb brings up a great point. He said, don't forget, the year the Nationals won it all, they were terrible in the first half of the season. And they were. Remember, they eked into the postseason, played that playoff game with the Brewers, and then went on to win it all. So hang on to yourself. Hang on to yourself. Got a lot more to get to. Got some Aaron Rodgers chatter coming up. Andy Herman, Pack-A-Day Podcast, going to be joining us coming up next. Stay tuned. 1 hour down, 3 yet to go. The Bill Michaels Show continues right after this. Glad you're back. Hour number 2 of the Bill Michaels Show, getting away from some of the Brewers chatter. We'll get back into it. I know there's some Brewers fans that, on one hand, are a little bit panicked about what's going on, and on the other, are sitting back and saying, just relax. Take it easy. Things are going to be okay. Don't worry. Don't freak out at this point. But got to talk a little Packers football, and joining us now over on the hotline, Andy Herman, Pack-A-Day Podcast. You can find his stuff at Andy Herman NFL. Now joining us on the hotline. Andy, how you doing, man?
Hey, Bill, doing great. Thanks so much. It's been too long.
So, what are you thinking regarding the Packers when it comes to the NFL draft? There's a lot of speculation about what they're going to do early, what's going to be there early for them in the draft. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I sort of expect Green Bay to be very Green Bay about this, and that's very common, best player available. And I know that's cliche, and I know that's lame, and I know it's probably not what a lot of Packer fans want to hear. I think they would, probably freak out a little bit if they don't hear a wide receiver on day one, which I still think is very, very possible. But I also know this is a franchise that has gone from Ron Wolf to Ted Thompson to Brian Gutekunst, and they have a pretty specific formula on what they look for, what they value. They value premium position players, generally quarterbacks, offensive tackles, defensive lineman, edge rusher, corner early in the draft. They'll go outside of that if they need to, and if it's still the best player. Those are the sort of players they look at, usually younger players with high athleticism. I think that's probably what they're going to do, and they know that they have 5 picks in the top 100. I think if you look at their type for wide receivers, it wouldn't shock me if they felt that their best value for wide receiver in this draft was more near the second round and maybe not so much the first round. So I expect this to be a very Packers draft and to kind of stick to their profile and to take whoever they think is going to be best for their football team, both now and long term.
What do you think that, because I get the sense that you got to go up and get one of the top 5, 6 wide receivers. Do you think they make a deal for that, or do you think, because I think if you're going to do that, you jump up with one of your picks in the first round, get that top wide receiver that you know is going to be an impact player, and then let the rest of the board fall to you? Or do you think they're just going to sit back, relax, and do nothing?
Nothing would surprise me, and especially because, as much as I just said that they have a formula for everything, Green Bay's had a formula for just about everything for a long time, and we're well past the state of normal for the Packers right now. Obviously going far into the future salary caps to pay players, giving control to a player like Aaron Rodgers to trade for a guy like Randall Cobb. Like, they're just not totally within their normal mindset of how they normally do things. So, moving up in the draft and getting a wide receiver, I still think is within the realm of possibility. I think where I struggle is that, again, and not to nerd out too much here, but what Green Bay really looks for is, they're going to want a receiver that can play the outside. They don't need a slot guy. Randall Cobb's a slot. Amari Rodgers is a slot. Alan Lazard spent 40% of his time in the slot. They don't really need that. They need an outside wide receiver. They generally want players that are younger in age in the draft so that they can really develop them. They usually want guys that are going to be able to block fairly aggressively or at least decently on the outside within this Matt LaFleur system. Like, there's specific traits that they look for. They very much value high-end athleticism. I just go through some of the top receivers in this draft. Yes, a Drake London would potentially make some sense, but Chris Olave, not a blocker, not a yards after catch guy, not usually up to their physical profile, and clearly could be gone by the time that they pick. Jahan Dotson, same thing, not their size profile. There's just so many wide receivers, even if they go up, like Garrett Wilson, same thing, very undersized for what Green Bay normally looks for. I struggle to look at a receiver in this draft, especially early, even with those top 4 or 5 guys, and say, all right, that's an ideal, perfect fit for Green Bay. I think Drake London might be the closest, but even he has a couple things where you look at it and say, all right, maybe there's a reason Green Bay wouldn't go in that direction.
There's a lot of edge rushers available, and one of the things that the Packers could use is an edge rusher and or a depth at edge rusher. Is there anybody in particular you're looking at going, this guy might be impactful with the Packers?
Yeah, very much so. Probably the player in the first round that maybe seems to fit the most for what Green Bay likes is George Karlaftis out of Purdue. Edge rusher, extremely high athletic profile, had great productivity. We talk about, potentially Aiden Hutchinson going first overall in the draft. Well, both played in the Big Ten. Aiden Hutchinson had a 25.4% pass rush win rate, and George Karlaftis was right there with him. Same exact pass rush win rate. Had great success as a pass rusher. He fits usually their size profile. We know they like a little bit of bigger players. I know a lot of people are saying maybe like he would fit better as like a 4-3 end. Well, a lot of people said the same thing about Rashawn Gary. He just fits exactly what they've sort of looked at that specific position. size, speed. The only thing that would be a question mark potentially is his arm length, which is shorter than what they normally like. But everything else he hits to a T. We talk about age. He just turned 21 years old. Literally everything you look at except for arm length, he has exactly what they're looking for. If he's there at 22, I would not be surprised at all if that's the pick.
Defensive line. Now, it's not a popular pick by many, but I think this team could probably use a little extra depth at the defensive line. Is there anybody there you're looking at saying this guy later in the rounds might not be a bad way to go?
Yeah, I think, one of the interesting things about the defensive line is obviously Kenny Clark gives you a lot of versatility, right? I know the top two guys in this draft, Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt. Davis probably gone by the time they pick. Devontae Wyatt could be there. But I think the nice thing is Kenny Clark, if you need him to be your more, nose tackle, run stuffing guy, and you want to add a Devontae Wyatt next to him and have him be more the gap penetrating pass rush specialist, you can do that. If you want Kenny Clark to be a little bit more of the pass rusher, he's never going to be that, quick twitch guy that just gets past you like an Aaron Donald, but he can certainly live within that realm as well. If you want to add a Jordan Davis type player next to him, you can do that as well. I think it gives them a lot of versatility. Why it's interesting, he's a little bit overaged for the position, probably would be there. You're going to turn 24 or just turn 24 in March, but extremely capable of penetrating into the backfield, shoot gaps. I mean, every defensive line coach and every defensive coach right now is looking for that type of player. This isn't the old NFL where you're necessarily looking for those edge rushers to just immediately bend around the edge. The geometry is a little bit different with so many teams playing in the shotgun. The quickest way from point A to point B from a disruption standpoint is right over guard or center, being able to win quickly, a very Aaron Donald-esque, and Devontae Wyatt has a lot of that skill. Whether, again, they would go in that direction is interesting. But I do think we talked about a little bit earlier, Green Bay may be going outside of their preferences a little bit. They've always taken these 20, 21, 22-year-old guys. Well, it sounds great, but they're not in a situation to develop players either. And if they realize, guys like Devontae Wyatt or maybe a Devin Lloyd at linebacker, yeah, they're 24 years old, but guess what? Those guys are going to be able to come in and step in right away and play with this team that's competing for a Super Bowl right now. With an Aaron Rodgers window that's 2 to 3 years left, that might seem very attractive to them as well.
Do you see, say, one of the offensive linemen, if they fall, you got to get a Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa. You get a guy like Charles Cross out of Mississippi State. One of those tackles, because they need a tackle. So do you see if one of those tackles fall where it could be kind of a jaw-dropping moment, but they end up going in the way of a tackle versus, say, a wide receiver in the first round?
No, I like the way you're thinking, and I think that's very much within the realm of possibility. Again, those are the exact type of players that Green Bay would like to use in the first rounds, is, again, those premium position players. And I think, it's easy to say, they're going to have David Bakhtiari at left tackle, and, they could probably put Yash at right tackle until maybe Elton comes back. And then you could put Elton Jenkins at right tackle and just say, hey, we've got David Bakhtiari and Elton Jenkins for this foreseeable future. Why would you need a first-round offensive tackle? But David Bakhtiari coming off an ACL where he's missed over a year. There's got to at least be some level of concern there. Elton Jenkins coming off a torn ACL. Yash was good, but I don't think he was quite as good as what maybe people expect or are kind of thinking when they think back of his play. Still struggled at times with consistency. And the other thing too is one of the real skills of this offensive line, and one of the great aspects of it since Matt LaFleur came in, has been their versatility. And they lose a Lucas Patrick, who's had the ability to play center and guard. Elton Jenkins is out for the first part of the season, and even if you put him in at right tackle, you can say that's going to be his spot. You lose all of his versatility there. Billy Turner's gone. He could play everywhere pretty much outside of center. That versatility is gone. So, if you get an offensive lineman that you can play at right tackle and then eventually get that versatility back with Elton Jenkins to be able to play wherever is needed, I think that's still a strength within this team. And the more depth that you can have and more talent you can have on this offensive line, the better. And sneakily, offensive line last year was a big step down from what they were in 2020. I still think they can use a lot of additional talent and depth along the line.
Talking with Andy Herman of the Pack-A-Day podcast. You can find him at Andy Herman NFL over on Twitter. Now, word comes out, Aaron Rodgers probably not going to be at the offseason workouts. And I had posted this morning, I said, look, that's fine. I mean, he's earned that right. He's kind of the matrix going to the line of scrimmage. But if you're bringing in 1, 2, or even 3 new wide receivers, this whole thing about trust, about getting on the same page, those workouts are the ones where all of those things, those relationships are established. Is Rodgers right or wrong in doing that?
Yeah, I think, probably somewhere in the middle, right? There's always that gray area. Like you said, he certainly earned the right. And, last year it worked out pretty well with him having an MVP season after not attending those. So I certainly understand his prerogative on it. And like you said, he certainly has earned that ability. But, we've also seen, guys like Tom Brady and some of these other quarterbacks who are consistently working with their receivers in the offseason, not just at OTAs and minicamps, but working on the side. And again, maybe that stuff's happening and we just don't know about it. But whether it's there, whether it's mini camps, whether it's OTAs, I do think those are valuable reps. And especially when you talk about a quarterback with Aaron Rodgers, where he has such high demands for his wide receivers. I mean, MVS last year said that there's two offenses in Green Bay. There's Matt LaFleur's offense that you have to learn, and then there's Aaron Rodgers' offense that you have to learn. Multiple wide receivers have talked about in the past where Rodgers will throw out an audible from 7 years ago. Well, Randall Cobb is going to be the only guy left that knows exactly what that means. But just learning the audibles, learning the timing, learning what Aaron Rodgers expects and the demands that he has for his wide receivers, I do think that stuff is important, and I do think some of that potentially gets lost. But I also think Jason Vrabel had a great comment on it today and saying, like, when these new receivers come in, at those rookie mini camps, OTAs, mini camps, like their head is swimming so much from just trying to learn the playbook originally that they have enough to go through just in that capacity before Aaron Rodgers starts throwing stuff at them. So I do think there could potentially be some advantage of, hey, let's just learn the basics first, and then we'll get thrown into the deep end once training camp starts.
So going through this draft, I mean, obviously they got numerous picks, and I keep thinking that if they're going to make a trade, they're probably going to make it right before the draft, so they kind of know what their board's going to look like, how many picks they're going to have. Do you see them bringing in a veteran wide receiver?
I don't know that I necessarily see it happening prior to the draft. I think we've sort of reached the phase now of the offseason where everyone's just kind of sitting tight and seeing what happens in the draft and what players are available. Now, if all of a sudden a player becomes available like a Terry McLaurin or a DK Metcalf, I can guarantee you that the team that's trading one of those players is going to want to have picks from this draft as compensation so that they can start rebuilding in whatever, capacity they want to. So, if all of a sudden that happens, then Green Bay is obviously going to have to get involved in those conversations beforehand. But I just think we've reached the point where if there's going to be trades, I think probably it's going to be, like you said earlier, moving up in the draft. And that could easily happen on draft day, depending on who's still available. And then I think we're going to see another real round of free agency after the draft with guys like Jarvis Landry and Sammy Watkins and Julio Jones and maybe Odell Beckham. And I think you'll see those guys start to get, eaten up pretty quickly right after the draft for teams that didn't get what they were expecting in the draft from a wide receiver standpoint.
Again, talking with Andy Herman, Pack-A-Day Podcast at Andy Herman NFL. So draft night, going to be, because we're planning a draft show like everybody is. And I always think to myself that there's not going to be much fireworks. It's going to be same old regarding the Packers. And you're saying pretty much expect a very bland, very, very Packer-esque Thursday night on the first round of the draft and no fireworks, huh?
Well, I think maybe that's myself either tempering expectations or just, learning over the years exactly what Green Bay tends to do in these situations. And listen, it's panned out more often than not. But, either way, we're going to get through, again, the first 2 days of this draft, Thursday and Friday, with the likelihood that Green Bay's either selected 5 new players for their roster in the first 100 picks or that they've moved up aggressively and done some crazy stuff, whether that's trading for veterans or moving up in the draft further. So either way, it should be a, sort of Christmas morning sort of feel with unwrapping a lot of presents for Packer fans, regardless of what happens after those first 2 days of the draft.
Andy, good stuff. We'll get you on as the draft draws near and then even after the fact. I appreciate it, okay?
Can't wait. Thanks so much, Bill.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later. There you go. Andy Herman, Pack-A-Day Podcast, joining us for a couple of minutes on the hotline, and glad to have him on board. And I still feel that there's going to be a trade. That's just my sense. I feel that there's going to be a move made, like he said, ahead of time, because those teams that are going to trade away some of those guys are going to want to start the rebuild of their team almost immediate. So you want those draft choices this year, not necessarily next year. So what will the Packers do? What do you think they're going to do? The other question I asked him, and I'm going to ask you this now. Aaron Rodgers, the story comes out, he is not going to be at at least according to reports, that he is not going to be at the voluntary offseason program. He's not going to be there. He's not going to be there to work out. He's going to do his own thing, which, again, the guy's the Matrix. Comes to the line of scrimmage, deciphers defenses. He got it. He's got it. He doesn't need it. But to build a relationship with the guys around him that might be new, that's kind of where that begins. These camps, especially for the young guys or the new guys, it's where that foundation for that type of relationship is built. So do you think he's wrong? As Andy mentioned, look, Tom Brady, he's at everything. As a matter of fact, he's getting guys together off season to go work out. Remember when he was getting guys together at a high school to go work out? A little bit different. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up. Want to know your opinion on all of this, right or wrong? I find it interesting. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Indy cars are running. Get your ticket to see them scream around the road course in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. For event information, go to roadamerica.com. That is roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Be heading downtown, say before or after one of the games down in the Deer District, maybe some of the postseason games for the Admirals, even downtown after a game with the Brewers, or before a game for that matter. Stop into our friends at San Giorgio. Gino and the gang down at San Giorgio and Calderon Club, the only authentic Napolitana pizzeria VPN in the area. as a matter of fact. Only 70 of them, I think, 60-something of them in the country. And we have one right here in our own backyard. Stop in and get any one of their pizzas. They pair them up with Cider Boys, the cider, and just so good. Cider beers, oh, good stuff. Pair that up with a pizza. Oh, my goodness. That is just heaven right there. Stop in and tell them we said hi. Also, stop over to Calderon Club. You can get anything from the award-winning meatballs, the pizzas over there. The chicken marsala is just absolutely out of this world with the cream sauce. Oh, so good. So good. So get a hold of them. Stop down. Say hi to our friends over there at Calderon Club and down at San Giorgio's, downtown Milwaukee, right there on Old World 3rd Street. Stop in and tell Gino and Robin and everybody we said hi. 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Let's go to the phone calls. Let's go to Ken listening to us in La Crosse. Ken, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Hey, Bill. Love your show, man. I'm just weighing in here on our buddy Aaron Rodgers, who I really don't think it matters as far as what we think what Aaron's going to do. He's kind of proven that he has earned that right. I'm not saying he hasn't, but he's going to do what he wants to do when it comes to his workouts. But I think it really does hurt the team, because then as we get into the season, then he'll throw the card at us. Well, I don't trust those rookies. Well, like you said, this is the time when you should be bonding with your brothers and maybe get out there and give a little bit towards the team end of it instead of about me. But who knows? I think he's proven to us he likes to keep us on the edge of our seats if we feel that way. I mean, that's his prerogative, but I think it would help the team if he showed up, but that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I appreciate the phone call. I think he should show. I mean, that's just my opinion. I know that many feel that, it's Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't need to. Just show up and you're good to go. And I understand that too. Not completely disagreeing with that sentiment. But, I just don't want to hear the mid-season stuff that says, hey, by the way, don't trust this guy. We've got to work on it. He's got more to learn. And well, he's probably there learning more if you're there with him. You know what I mean? He's probably there getting a foothold if you're there to say, hey, this is what I expect out of you. This is what I want from you. It's just, I know it's easy to sit here and say that things will be better. Maybe they won't. Who knows? But I know not being in Green Bay doesn't bode well. Doesn't bode well. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Find us. Give us a shout. This is from Court. Let's go to Court listening to us in Whitewater. Court, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey, big unit. Thanks for taking my call. Both you guys kind of stole a little bit of my thunder there, but I agree that he should be there, because earning his trust always seems to be the biggest thing that we say, or he likes to come out and say that you have to have and you have to get. And it starts now, and not even with the rookies so much. I mean, they're going to bank on Alan Lazard now to really step up and do something special for him. Not that he has in the past, but now you got to start working on back shoulder classes with him and things like that. And I'm with you. He needs to be there, especially for the young guys as well. Amari Rodgers has a chance to maybe do something great. And without him there in camp, it doesn't get done.
Right.
He should be at the camps. And I don't know if LaFleur has got I don't know, what do you want to say, the cojones, whatever. Maybe he didn't call him out. Just so you know, I think it would be great if Aaron was here, working with the young players. But I don't know if Matt would do something like that to his star quarterback.
Yeah, I got to imagine that that relationship is while it's really good, I also have to think to myself, is it really good because he's basically let Aaron kind of do his own thing?
I agree with that. You're right, because there's sometimes, and like your previous caller said, do we need to worry about Aaron Rodgers? No. We know Aaron's going to show up, in the season. He's going to be Aaron Rodgers. But like you said, this is a kind of a different whole. Only one player is kind of really being gone, and that's Devontae. But it sure does make things a lot different when he's the guy that you're throwing the ball to 16, 17 times a game, and now it's not there.
Yeah.
You would think you'd want to build some type of rapport with somebody else. So.
Yep. Yep, that I agree with. Appreciate the phone call, man. He drops off. You get on board. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Steve says he's going to do the opposite of what everybody else wants him to do. He also says that well, I don't want to get into all that. They're talking cooking recipes over there on the Bud Light live stream.
Should go ask Cam Newton.
Right? Yeah, that's a whole other deal. What is Cam Newton thinking? We'll have that when we come back, but yeah, that's him. You know what? Him and Cam Newton. Now, what Cam Newton had to say is much, much more egregious than anything else, than what anybody else had to say. But LeBron, he got into his whole diatribe yesterday too, and I kind of shook my head at that and thought, wait, what are you saying? And so we're gonna hear from Cam Newton. We'll talk a little bit about LeBron as well, but just two guys that I'm sometimes I'm kind of like, you just need to stop. Just don't say anything, move on, and kind of go from there. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Hit us up again, 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at the Wrestling Taco. Now, if you're going to stop anywhere, say after the game, and you're going to want some Mexican, if you're coming up 84th Street, if you're coming up Greenfield, if you're coming up into the West Dallas area, heading home, stop over, tell Nicole and Marcus and everybody over at the Wrestling Taco, 84th Street, just south of the Wisconsin State Fair Park. Tell them we said hi. Really good food. Obviously, they've got big margaritas, small margaritas. And if you want to go just watch the game, they have theater seating in there. Stop in and you can get your food, sit in one of their big theater seats in front of the big screen TV and actually sit there and watch the game on the big screen TV. So a lot of good stuff over at the Wrestling Taco on 84th Street, just south of the Wisconsin State Fair Park. Stop in, tell Marcus, Nicole, the entire staff, howdy. We got more coming up right after this. Bill Michaels Show. Continuing on. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Cannot play the Cam Newton audio for you. Can't do it. Because it is a little bit too graphic. I might for to play over the air. Okay. However, Cam Newton has I don't even know how to put it. It's just stupid. I don't even know how else to. He was during an appearance on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast, DOLLAZ. He spoke about what he feels regarding the gender roles within a relationship. He made a distinction between a bad MFer and a woman, or a bad B word as well. A bad B word is a woman who can't cook, don't know when to be quiet, he said. Newton said women are good at, quote, handling your own, but knowing how to cater to a man's needs. He basically just, he started talking about women in sports. He said it's funny to hear a female start talking about running routes, going back to that. I can't give you every detail, but basically said you need to know how to cook and clean and keep your mouth shut, which has not gone over very well, to say the very least. Flagrantly sexist. Flagrantly sexist. He said, now for a woman, for me, is handling your own, but knowing how to cater to a man's needs. He, just some of the stupidest things you can possibly say. And again, he has been just roasted since this all came out. In the meantime, completely far less egregious, but nevertheless, it was one of those, what are you talking about moments. LeBron James, after being questioned because his head coach gets fired and what the NFL season or the NBA season holds going into next season, he said, this year, I'm going to stay out of personnel decisions. I'm not going to get involved in that. I'm going to control just on the court. Obviously, Russell Westbrook, Frank Vogel did not have a lot of kind things to say about Russell Westbrook, his work ethic, his attitude. LeBron said he's still hungry for another championship, but going to stay out of making decisions for the front office. He has won championships. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. But there is now a thought. There's two thoughts in LA. One is you got to keep him around because you got to put butts in the seats. He gives you the best chance to win. On the other hand, it's the 4-year fatigue. LeBron wears you out. He's nothing but a whiner, a crier. It's everybody else's fault. He wants control. He wants what he wants. He's the almighty. And if you don't cater to him, he's going to threaten to leave. Here's the question. Should the Lakers just package him up and say, go? Let's trade him away. Let's start rebuilding our frame. Because you don't have any draft choices. It's not like you're going to go out and bring in some draft choices. You're going to go out and have a bunch of money to spend and go out and bring in all this different capital and say, hey, we can go out and get these free agents. You don't have it. The Lakers have nothing. The only thing the Lakers have is Westbrook, and he's not worth much. What's he going to win you? Everybody he plays with, it's everybody else's fault. Him and LeBron are two peas in a pod. The only difference is LeBron has rings. He's got legit. So LeBron says, yeah, I don't think I'm going to get involved. I'm not going to make roster decisions this year. What? Wait a minute. What? So if LeBron's making roster decisions, then why is he blaming Pelinka to begin with for not going out and making additional moves? It's because they've catered to him the whole time. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Two guys that said things that I went, wait, what? What are you saying? What? Boy, are you full of yourself. Not that it comes as any shock to anybody out there, but the Lakers, I cannot be more happy that I'm watching the Lakers completely live in turmoil and anonymity. And rather than at this point in time doing what's best for, because it's not like the Packers situation where you have this window, you have this ability, you can make things happen. You still have the capability to put certain pieces in certain places. The Lakers, this is it. And LeBron is aging. He can't win it by himself anymore. He can't drag a bunch of dead asses across the finish line to a championship. He can't do it anymore. He's good, no doubt. But he's not the LeBron from Cleveland or from Miami. He's not that guy. And even so, in Miami, he had to go get extra pieces. And after 4 years, couldn't do it anymore. Had to blow that up. So,
Bill, did you see what Draymond Green said about the whole Lakers situation?
No, I did not.
So
am I going to smile?
Yeah, it's funny. It's a good perspective. He said on his podcast, quote, "Could you imagine being an analyst for a venture firm or an analyst on Wall Street and you're that far off? You would lose your job." And then he went on to say that experts in the media who picked the Lakers to win the title should all be fired.
I never did.
Great take.
I am so proud. I am so proud. I'm not right a whole lot in my life, but I am so incredibly proud. I never picked the Lakers. I said that is going to implode. That's a team that's just not going to get there. Not going to get there. I was so right. I love it. I love watching the implosion of the Lakers. Love it.
It's also all the guys LeBron shipped out are all having pretty solid seasons
with
their new teams.
Pretty much. Love it. I never, you brought in Carmelo Anthony. Come on. Terrible work ethic. Terrible. I've heard numerous coaches talk behind closed doors about him. Numerous. Thought, boy, you're bringing that guy in? That's your savior? Come on. Sure enough. Anthony Davis, always hurt. Nothing, really good player when he's healthy, but always hurt. LeBron has to have the ball. And Russell Westbrook, he's good, but he's good if he's on the court by himself. Otherwise, he's nothing but a complainer. Nothing but a complainer and a whiner. Saw this coming a mile away. Mile away. Love it. Absolutely love it. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, by all means. 877-867-1670. Oh boy. This whole tweet from Warren Sharp about Daniel Snyder. Oh man, let's do this. I gotta decipher this, because if this is all true through the investigation, which just, by the way, the letter just came out today. If this is all true, Daniel Snyder is going to be out in the NFL. Let me read this and then we'll get to it. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next. Wow. This is a lot to absorb. So going into the commercial break, I had told you that there has been some news released regarding, and this letter was dated today, to the Congress, the House of Representatives Committee Oversight and Reform, dated today, and it's by Carolyn Maloney, the chairwoman of the Committee on Oversight and Reform, and part of the subcommittee on economic consumer policy, and it goes to Roger Goodell. It goes to the Attorney General of Washington, D.C., the Attorney General of the state of Maryland, the Attorney General of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Basically, Daniel, all the rumors that were that he had two sets of books, and you kind of went, well, is this true? Apparently it is. The letter starts out by saying they were writing to share evidence of concerning business practices by the Washington Commanders uncovered during the committee's investigation into workplace misconduct. Evidence obtained by the committee included emails, documents, and statements from former employees that indicate senior executives and Daniel Snyder were engaging in troubling, long-running, and potentially unlawful pattern of financial conduct that victimized thousands of fans and the National Football League. What they found, and I don't know how many pages this is. This report is 20 pages. But going through this, basically the Washington Commanders were keeping the seat licenses, the security deposits of the fans. And they were instructed to make it so difficult to get your money back that people would give up. With many things regarding the website, trying to get a hold of, regarding tickets, ticket sales. If you bought tickets, needed to exchange them, take them back. Very hard for you to get your money. They were keeping the tickets and the seat licenses of dead people that had passed away, making it so difficult for those family members to get their money back that they would just give up, figuring, it's gone. What are we going to, why worry about it? Also talking specifically about the NFL refusing to provide the committee with their full findings of the original investigation. Both the NFL and the Commanders have taken steps to withhold key documents and information from the committee. Faced with the NFL and the team's obstruction, the committee has obtained information and the documents from other sources, including numerous former employees. The committee's investigation has revealed a long-standing culture of impunity among top executives, from pervasive sexual harassment and other workplace misconduct to potential financial misconduct. Also, there were two sets of books, and they would keep the fan gate, or the opposing team's gate of tickets. They would keep all refunds. And again, I'm only through a couple pages of this during the break. This is amazing. Anybody basically that fell in line with Daniel Snyder's wishes was promoted, thus creating his inner circle of team vice presidents of sales, customer service, and such. It's amazing. Just amazing. They were taking all of the affordable general admission tickets and selling them in bulk to third-party brokers, and then telling the fans that the tickets were sold out. They basically were buying their own tickets at face value and then selling them back to a secondary market, telling the fans that the tickets were sold out, so the fans would have to pay more, and thus they would receive the percentages from the secondary market, creating a 160,000 person waiting list or forcing you to buy premium seat tickets. Wow. Oh, man. It's just, this was, I can't believe all of this. Now let's say this. Okay, let me back up here for a second, because it's almost like there's so much information. The words are difficult at times. If this does not sink Daniel Snyder, whether him being forced to immediately sell the team or go to jail, and if this does not bring Roger Goodell a enormous amount of shame, as well as the other owners in the National Football League, then I don't know what ever will. This is so big. So big. It's just, and again, I'm trying to read everything while I'm on the air, and it's going to come out later this afternoon, I'm sure. But my God, this is treating a fan base about as poorly as you can treat a fan base, stealing from them. Basically, the NFL and Daniel Snyder are stealing from fans because the NFL is not cooperating with the investigation. Now, granted, I think the NFL is looking at this as we're protecting an owner and it's sexual harassment allegations and such, but it's uncovered this wormhole of impropriety. And it's mind-boggling. This is the documented letters that have been sent regarding the Washington Commanders Oversight Committee letter to the Federal Trade Commission, which convened for the hostile environmental workplace. But in addition to that, they also oversee commerce, fair trade, and they get into all those subcommittees, which is what originally brought down the steroid era, if you want to call it that, in Major League Baseball. Same kind of system. I know we hate government. I get it. But in cases like this, when they have that power to come in and say, hey, wait a minute, we're going to look at this because we think you're a bunch of liars, you thank God that it's around. It's a double-edged sword. It really is. But when stuff like this is exposed, it's mind-boggling. Daniel Snyder is just financially raping his own fan base. Just amazing. Just amazing. 877-867-1670. If you haven't seen it yet, the tweet, I've retweeted some of that stuff over on the Facebook fan page. Or excuse me, over on Twitter. So, yeah, if you want to take a read, you can find it over there. I encourage you to follow me on Twitter and follow Sam Warren. He's fantastic reporting. I had talked about reporting a little bit earlier today. Warren Sharp is getting all of this. And he does sharp football analysis and analytics and such, but he works in Washington. Also works with NBC Sports. And man, that's amazing. 877-867-1670.
Bill, I'm texting with a couple friends from that area.
Yeah.
And they all finally think that or hope that this is the final straw.
It has to be.
They're so jaded Kind of like how Wisconsin sports fans, like eventually you get used to everything looks great and then something comes crashing down.
Right.
They're so jaded that no matter what comes out of the organization, they won't believe Snyder's gone until they see it.
Right. One of the excerpts is, according to Mr. Freeman, his concerns about being used as a scapegoat by the team and blamed for the Commanders' financial improprieties were based on the earlier experience during his interview. To former General Counsel Dave Donovan accused him of being a rogue employee. Specifically, according to Friedman, the team executives, including Mr. Gershman and Mr. Choi, had routinely instructed him to misrepresent the availability of affordable general admission tickets to fans seeking to attend a game, and they would inform the customers that the team is sold out. Therefore, he would then direct the fans to the team's purported 160,000 name waiting list. The apparent intent of this practice was to trick customers into believing that they had two choices: join the waiting list or purchase the premium tickets for access to immediate seating in FedEx Field at a premium price. But the general admission tickets were being sold by the team to the secondary market. Wow. What a scumbag. What a scumbag. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Transport agrees. Sutton Transport offers a 5-day work week. Same start times daily, and you'll be home nightly and on weekends. Sutton Transport is now hiring CDL drivers and forklift operators for all shifts. Enjoy some of the best benefits in the industry. Consistent year-round work, twice-a-year wage increases, and enjoy your family time you deserve. That is work-life balance. The road to success is with Sutton Transport. Apply at suttontrans.com.
Well, the Packers are continuing to prep for the NFL draft. They've got 11 picks, including 2 in the first round. The draft gets underway April 28th in Las Vegas. And some sad news to pass along. Former Wisconsin running backs coach Gary Brown has passed away. He was with the program last year before taking leave in December to battle an illness. He was 52 years old. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
He was stealing basically from those fans, season ticket holders that had passed away, and their families were trying to get the money back. He kept that money. So these two big stories breaking, one somewhat non-sports related, but 10 people shot in New York in the subway system, undetonated devices, as they're calling it, were found down there as well. I don't have all the details on that. I apologize, but that's been some breaking news along the way. And then this story about the Washington Commanders and this being a part of, the Congress, the House of Representatives and the Committee on Oversight and Reform getting this 20-page letter today that basically outlines all the deception of the Washington Commanders, including the NFL's unwillingness to work with them regarding the investigation into a hostile work environment for women. Just about as bad can be for Daniel Snyder. Between Stephen Ross talking to a head coach and trying to get his team to lose, and Daniel Snyder cooking the books, stealing from fans and stealing from other owners. If the NFL, where the hell is Roger Goodell? Roger Goodell has to come to a microphone and begin to explain this. And other owners have to come to microphones and begin to explain this. This whole thing about, well, we can't talk about it. It's an ongoing investigation. I get it, but you got to have an opinion on some of this stuff. You got to lead your sentence with, if this is true, then fill in the blank. It's deplorable. You're literally stealing from your fans. And it's being condoned by the governing body that is the NFL. It's awful. Awful. Numerous interviews, former employees, executives, all say this is what was going on. Anybody that was on the inner circle with Daniel Snyder, it was because they were doing yeoman's work when it came to being deceptive and stealing and such. And again, I haven't read this whole 20-page letter yet, but I start to go through it and look at excerpts, and it's amazing. They converted security deposits into non-shareable revenue by lying. I'm stunned by all of this. I guess I shouldn't be, but I am. The U.S. House Oversight and Reform Committee exploring potential financial improprieties with the Washington Commanders organization. The committee now wants a federal agency to get involved. According to the Washington Post, the committee sent the 20-page letter to the Federal Trade Commission regarding allegations that the team is withholding as much as $5 million in refundable deposits from season ticket holders. $5 million from season ticket holders. And that the team is hiding cash that was to be shared by the rest of the NFL franchises. Former Washington employee Jason Friedman, who spent nearly a quarter century with the organization, tells the committee that the team kept 2 sets of books. That's true. The process of intentionally allocating revenue to the wrong event was known. It was known as juice with the team, allegedly spreading revenue that should have been shared with the rest of the league to non-NFL events at FedEx Field. And as bad as that sounds, it's separate from an alleged scam to keep security deposits from all the season ticket holders, including those who have passed away and their families. It reminds people right now, as they put it in this story, that the rebate controversy that resulted in a multi-year investigation into the Pilot Flying J truck stop company, which was previously owned and operated by the Browns owner, Jimmy Haslam, who somehow avoided prosecution in that case. If this evidence now is accurate and persuasive, the members of the Commanders organization may have to worry about indictments, including owner Daniel Snyder. Example of how they juice things. They practice allegedly worked. Freeman told the committee that they falsely processed $162,360 in Commanders ticket revenue as arising from the Navy Notre Dame game at FedEx Field. The team's former chief financial officer, Stephen Choi, allegedly directed Friedman to do it this way in May 6th of 2014. So this is two sets of books, he said. So in this particular case, there are two sets of books that submitted to the NFL. The one they don't look at it includes the $162,000, but then there's another set of books that's kept internally to show Mr. Snyder and Mr. Snyder's, I believe, just Mr. Snyder, actually, they say, and the people on the inner circle, maybe that shows what we actually did, which would include the $162,000 worth of juice, as he puts it. So they would take the revenue, they would convert it into something. They would take a portion of money and convert it into, say, revenue from the Army Notre Dame game or the Navy Notre Dame game and say, no, that money's from there. That's money that we can keep. You don't get that. And they would do this on the regular. They would change the books, basically, and then one would be in-house that they all would know where the money's coming from, and then the out-of-house book is the one they show to the NFL and the rest of the world to say, no, we made money on this event. Here's where the money is. We don't owe the NFL anything. Basically stealing from the other owners. Wow. Just, and it just kills me that, season ticket holders pass away and they refuse to refund the money and the seat licensing money to the families, or make it so difficult they just give up. That's incomprehensible. That's incomprehensible. Dave says nothing on the ESPN site at all. It will be. It will be. You can just Google it, and now you can see it. Pro Football Talk's got a big story on it. It's out there by so many different entities now. The Washington Post has a big story on this. Maybe the ESPN writers are currently working on it, or they're more, because they're based in New York, maybe they're more worried, and rightfully so, about the loss of life and the shooting in the subway system there earlier today.
None of those injuries were life-threatening in New York.
Just amazing.
But it is still appalling that this is the one thing that will anger owners enough to get another owner gone. Nothing else that's ever done. Just if you cook the books and steal from us, then we're going to kill you.
Right. Chael says Commanders didn't do jack. It was apparently the Redskins. Still reads like BS, but if guilty, F. Snyder. Tom says, I can't believe that the NFL would condone this. What is wrong with Roger Goodell and the rest of the owners? Why aren't people talking to Mark Murphy about this during his press conferences and asking him about his buddy over there in Washington? Does he still have ties to the Redskins? Mike says, this is disgusting. We know the fans get screwed all the time. Now there's proof of it. I say it's time to put down our money and stop going to these damn games and stop supporting the NFL. Angel says, this is appalling. I'm reading the story now and reading the report of all the documentation. This makes me want to throw up. Thomas writes, Daniel Snyder's always been a scumbag. Now it's proof. He's a sexist, he's a harasser, and he's a thief. He should go to jail, and if he doesn't, it just proves the NFL is corrupt as the rest of them. We're just reacting. The world just reacting to all of this. I can go on and on. It is what it is at this point. If you want to read more about it, read more about it. You can find it anywhere. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Let's go to Tim, listening to us in Sparta. Tim, how you doing, man? What's going on? Oh, nope, Tim dropped off. He brings up the NFLPA and how if the owners were stealing. I can't even imagine this. The NFL, because the NFLPA is going to claim that this was in some way, shape, or form money that was withheld via revenue share. So it was underreported, meaning that maybe the NFL is actually making more money than what they're claiming. Therefore, percentages and such that they base some of these salary caps on are being withheld, and therefore the players aren't getting it. You talk about opening an incredible can of worms. That's crazy. That's just, you're right. You're 100% correct. And these are the things that when we get so mad at players for wanting the money and wanting the owners to open the books, and this is the reason you need transparency. And this could be the beginning of the end of the NFL and antitrust. This could be that. This could be where lawmakers just finally say, you know what? Enough. You're done. You're lying. It's one thing when the players are claiming something and the owners are claiming something and you're going with mediation. Now you're stealing from yourselves, and you're not even, as an entity, you're not even cooperating with the investigation, which would then lead you to believe, if I'm an investigator and I go to Roger Goodell and I say, I want to see all the books, I want to see what's going on, I need to know this because you've got a franchise lying, 2 sets of books. They're stealing from fans. They're stealing from one another. They're harassing the women in the office. They're cooking the books. This is an illegal franchise, basically. You've got it from the top down, where guys may go to jail, and you're not going to cooperate with the investigation, which now leads me to believe, what do you got to hide? What are you hiding? I've always said there was something that stunk out of that whole investigation, and the NFL was lying to you. And as fans, we don't give a damn because we can't get enough football. I'll be honest about that. But they were lying because the only guy that got busted was John Gruden, who doesn't even work for the organization. Are you kidding me? And here's where the level of trust goes, or lack thereof. And Cheddar Balls brings up a good point over on the Bud Light live stream. He says lawmakers are going to do something about it. LOL, they're probably in on it. That's where our belief in society, in the corruptibility of all of this is. We believe baseball players are dirty. We believe the NFL is lying. That lawmakers, they're all on the take. I wrote this earlier today because I watched a news, and I hate to get way off on a tangent here, so I apologize. Please bear with me for a moment. But I wrote this earlier today. This morning I got up, and as I was watching a newscast, they were giving certain numbers. They were giving numbers about COVID. They were giving numbers about crime. They were giving numbers about auto theft. They were giving numbers about shooting. And I'm thinking to myself, and then at the very end of this diatribe of what they're giving and has been spoon-fed to them by certain agencies rather than actually investigating it yourself, when you look at all of this, and then to say, yeah, here's the numbers, but I believe they're a lot higher because there's some things that we don't even believe is being reported, or because they're not doing enough to actually categorize it this way or what. And I'm like, wait a minute. You're believing, first of all, no investigative reporting. It's literally what's being spoon-fed to you by the entity. None. There's nobody walking around the halls of City Hall anymore. There's nobody following police departments. There's nobody hanging out with legislators. There's nobody digging dirt. There's nobody looking for corruption. There's nothing. Reporting in this world sucks. As far as investigative journalism, in the words of, say, like Edward R. Murrow from the days gone by. And then you turn around and after you give the facts, and then throw your own opinion in it to skew it the way you want it as a news entity. Now, talk shows, hosts, we grab an opinion, we put some facts behind it, we try to bolster our opinion, and then it's a discussion between you and I. This is like adults in a bar talking sports. But when you're talking about something like this is good investigative journalism. This is getting your hands on the letter to Congress. This is finding out exactly what's going on behind closed doors and digging to say, oh my God, this is not only appalling because of what you're doing to your own self behind closed doors with a terrible work environment and stealing and hirings and firings and your own inner circle, but you're stealing from your own fans. You're stealing from dead people. It's incomprehensible. 877-867-1670. Hang in there. More of the Bill Michaels Show is next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad to have you. Hey, our friends over at Newton Medical reminding you that, ED is erectile dysfunction. Nothing to, it's not going to cure itself. Put it that way. They can all, 98%, they can all but guarantee that they can cure you. 98%. They can help you out. How about, say, a weight loss program? Coming into the summer months, t-shirt weather, yeah, you don't want to look like you're smuggling inner tubes. I'll tell you that right now. Or maybe this time of day, you're tired. You're looking at your computer screen, or you're driving, or you're doing whatever it is you're doing out on the job site, and you're just thinking to yourself, my God, I could drop over. I'm exhausted. And I thought I got some good sleep last night. Check out maybe Low T. They can help you out with that as well. There's so many things they can do to make you feel better, look better. That's our friends at Newton Medical. Call them, 414-455-4451, 414-455-4451. Give them a shout. Again, 414-455-4451. That's the Newton Medical Center. Regarding this whole situation in New York, the Brooklyn shooting, just an FYI, because there is news today, and I don't want to gloss over this because it is real life stuff. What we know is that 16 people are injured. At least 8 of the victims sustained wounds from gunfire. Fire officials found several undetonated devices in the area. Police are searching for a suspect, possibly wearing a construction vest, according to the NYPD. The death toll, I don't specifically have in front of me, and I apologize for that. I know there have been some deaths out of this, but I don't want to speculate at this point because I've been looking at specific information and it tends to vary. So I don't want to mislead you in any way, shape, or form. So according to this report, the injury's not life-threatening, which is wonderful news. There's still a question about the subway system near the Barclays Center about tonight's contest with the Brooklyn Nets, whether or not it still will be held this evening or not. The NBA is making a decision there, so it does have an intertwining with sports somewhat. And then in the meantime, for those that did not know, the Washington Commanders Oversight Committee letter to the Federal Trade Commission and Reform. There was a letter that came out that it's part of an ongoing investigation into the Washington Commanders and how they have interviewed team executives, former team executives. There has been a scheme to fail to return security deposits to customers, including customers who have passed away and from their families. They have sold general admission tickets to the secondary market, thus calling their games a sellout and forcing those who would like to go to the game to either buy premium seats or to get onto the waiting list for what they claim to be 160,000 deep for season tickets to go see the Washington Commanders. They have had 2 sets of books, reported 2 sets of books. That one set they show to the NFL, the other set they keep behind closed doors as, quote, juice. They show where they stole money that should have been reported as revenue to the NFL, and instead they, quote, juiced the books by keeping this money and rerouting it through other means, basically through non-NFL related revenue, such as concerts and other college football games that have rolled through FedEx Field. All of this being condoned by their owner, Daniel Snyder, him knowing about it as he, quote, promoted his inner circle. They concealed ticket revenue from the NFL as well, going back years. They've been doing this for decades, apparently. It's just, the accusations are unbelievable. And this all stemmed from the original investigation of a hostile work environment, which that suit was brought forth by numerous female employees. And it also indicates that the NFL, regarding this committee oversight investigation, and Roger Goodell specifically, have been uncooperative. They refused to turn over records, refused to talk to the committee's investigation team. So not only is this going on, which there's so much here in regards to trade and commerce and interstate commerce, which brings in the feds, which they can lay down indictments right away. I mean, if they want to, if all of this turns out to be true. And they could then, in 2 things, they could, one, because of the refusal by the NFL to cooperate with the investigation, they could in some way, shape, or form charge Roger Goodell in this. And the bigger aspect is that they could then turn around and say, you know what, we're done. We're taking away your antitrust. And that's millions and millions and tens of millions of dollars to the NFL and its owners. So big breaking news today. Big breaking news today in 2 separate facets. One being the world of sports and the other one being the Brooklyn shooting today in the boroughs in New York. 16 injured, 10 shot in the Brooklyn subway shooting. They found numerous undetonated devices, and they are currently looking for somebody who was dressed as kind of a construction worker as a person of interest. 10 shot, numerous injured, and they're looking for a gunman The manhunt is ongoing for a gunman who left the subway in a gas mask. So there you go. That's everything from today. What a day. A very, very, very dark day as far as humanity goes, and a dark day in the world of the Washington football team in the NFL. Apparently, in this particular case regarding the shooting, some of the 10 wounded were in the same train car as the suspect. Others were on the platform. The train was still moving when all of a sudden this person grabbed a gas mask, threw a smoke canister on the subway car floor, and then just started shooting everyone. Green smoke spewing from the subway doors. When the Manhattan-bound train, the N train, stopped on the platform, people were running, bleeding. 16 people hurt. Like I said, 10 via gunshot wound. Half dozen victims not injured by gunfire, but were hurt when the crowd response turned to chaos. It just a chaotic scene in New York. So that's what's going on today. What a day. What a day. 877-867-1670. Getting back to our discussion from earlier, we were talking about the Brewers. And some people already kind of saying that same old from last year. Brewers not able to get clutch hits, not scoring runs, a lot of the same problems. The majority of thought, and kudos to the majority of you, it's not that you can't begin to look over that fence and say, if it stays like this could be a long season if they don't start to do this. That I understand, but I'm not calling it a season. I'm not doing the I told you so. I told you they were going to stink. I told you they weren't going to win the division. I told you they weren't going to have a winning record. I told you they weren't going to win 90 games. It's way too early for that. And that may very well may happen. I'm not denying that, but to say I'm calling it, it's done, I think would be completely erroneous at this point. And then there is the discussion of Aaron Rodgers, who the reports are he is not going to show up for the voluntary workouts and some camps for the Green Bay Packers. And yet, remember, and again, I've stated this time and again, I don't care about the regular season and the wins and losses. I really don't. I mean, it's great if you get a bunch of them, but whether you're the 1 seed or the bottom wild card, I don't care. The excuses are over. The only excuse that you can use for a complete and utter failure would be mass injury at this point. And we've seen this team overcome that. So I don't even know if you can use that to a certain extent. The only thing you can look at now is you've had 2 years in which you've had subpar quarterback play in big games in the postseason. And the claim throughout an entire season is, I'm working with this guy. Yeah, he's getting better. I got to learn to trust. Well, if you're not going to be there and you're not going to participate and you're not going to set that foundation of trust and relationship, then you have no way. You can't sit in front of a microphone and cry about it anymore. You just can't. You're a hypocrite. So again, this year, next year, to a certain extent, all about wins and losses, all about the postseason, all about victories. That's it. Period. End of story. Stay tuned. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Buy more, save more with a patio door.
Wait, what?
Right now, at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, the more windows you buy, the more you'll be saving by adding a patio door.
Miss Della from Pella?
Please, call me Gina.
Okay, Gina, Della for Bella? Like, I was told there'd be no math.
Like, that's okay. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin makes it easy. Now through April 30th, when you buy 3 Pella windows, you'll save $500 when you add a patio door. Buy 6, save $1,000 with a patio door. Buy a dozen Pella windows, save $2,000 when you...
Add a patio door?
Correct. And along with 6 full lines of windows, traditional to contemporary, Pella of Wisconsin has financing to fit most any budget.
Awesome.
Buy more, save more with a patio door, but only through April 30th. Set your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad you're back. The Bill Michaels Show. What a day. What a day in the world of breaking news. Both of them very unfortunate. The shooting that took place in the subway in Brooklyn earlier today, and then obviously the letter. And I will post the letter in its entirety over on the Facebook fan page. So if you want to go there and you want to read it, you can. It is just it's a lot of former employees and executives and such who have been interviewed throughout the investigation into the Washington Commanders. And it is, if all of this is proven to be true, then it's unbelievably egregious. It's criminal, for lack of a better term. So that's everything that's going on. Brewers lost to the Orioles yesterday. They were blanked, and second time this year they've been blanked, as a matter of fact. Already scoreless in two separate games, getting beat 9-0 and 2-0, once by the Cubs, once by the Orioles. And that has led more than a few to question the viability of this team for this season. Will they really get to 92, 93, 94 wins? Will they be able to win their division at this pace? Of course not. But then again, I'm not looking at it as this is lost by any stretch of the imagination. It's early on in the season. It's only 4 games. So not a lot of panic here. But I understand where some people do have the anxiety, if you will, as far as I understand the anxiety as you sit there as a fan and you watch it game by game, moment by moment, at bat by at bat specifically, and the Brewers aren't plating runs. And you're sitting there with the anxiety as to, okay, we saw this in the postseason. We saw this towards the end of the season last year, the last couple of weeks of the season, when we thought, no big deal. They're going to get to the postseason. They're going to hit the ball. Everything's good. And then it didn't happen. And then a lot of the same things are starting to pop up. And it's a little disconcerting. I understand that. It's frustrating, I think, more than anything, because the team is a good team. It's frustrating more than anything. So now you kind of look at the Brewers maybe with a wider eye. But as far as, you're pounding your fist on the table with some of you, what I call it is there's a lot of kind of Twitter muscles. Okay. On one hand, you've got the Twitter muscles of, name calling and everything sarcastic and everything, those people, those people. Okay. Then there's the other Twitter muscles of, I know it. I told you, here's what it is. That, because again, it's very easy to say, well, the Brewers aren't winning a World Series. Well, it's easy to say that. 1, they've never won one. 2, it's mainly because out of 30 teams, there's only 29 that are going to say we had a shot and didn't win it. Only one's going to actually win it. And the likelihood of you being that team when you've never won it before, pretty remote. So it's easy to go, yep, didn't do it, that type of thing. So anyway, long story short is that there is this group of people out there that are really ready to pounce upon the Milwaukee Brewers and say, I told you so. And I think more so than a Brewers fan, a baseball fan, an understandable fan when it comes to the game of baseball, I think those people are kind of coming out of the woodwork to say, told you so. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. Again, 877-867-1670. Got something to say it regarding the Brewers. Look, I'm of the belief when it comes to the Milwaukee Brewers, I think they're going to bounce back. Maybe they get a win, maybe 2 over the Orioles. And then you come back home. You finally get back home. You celebrate your own opening day. You have fun. You sleep in your own bed. You get a little bit of a home stand, and off you go. They're going to be fine. Got to get pitching settled and such. Off you go. 877-867-1670. By the way, I got to I gotta kind of there is a thing called Talking Phils. It's a breakdown of the benches being cleared between the Cubs and the Brewers, and it's centered around the former Philly Andrew McCutchen. And I just wanted to post it out there. I just retweeted it, as a matter of fact. If you haven't seen it, it's just all the bean balls that have gone on back and forth between the two teams and such. And then obviously the argument that the Cubs are crying, and the Cubs, they had to throw not once but twice at McCutchen because the first one just didn't land, which, by the way, it landed their pitcher on a 3-game suspension. So we've already had a suspension doled out this season, which I smile at, to be quite honest with you. But that being said, it's a breakdown of the bean balls and such between these two teams. So if you haven't seen it already, go and take a look at it. And then I didn't even get into this story. Alec Baum, I would assume you've seen this from the Phillies organization, Ben, but when he said he hated this effing place regarding Philadelphia and regarding the stadium after 3 errors in the first 3 innings. Yeah. His mouth got caught on camera saying, "I effing hate this place." And then,
he was lucky it was only 3.
Right?
He could have had 7 errors.
Oh,
he was
boy.
lost. But then he finally made a play and delivered the ball to first base on a routine grounder.
Yeah.
And everybody got up and cheered.
Right. Yeah.
Which, I mean, sarcastic, yes. But yeah. So, and then he apologized afterwards. I loved it. I mean, who hasn't at one point at their work said, you know what? I effing hate this place. Like, this is the worst.
Yeah.
So
it was, I don't think I've ever hated any place that I've worked. Well, maybe one. I was a roofer, and I was coming out of high school, and not only was it a brutal job. I mean, I give roofers all the credit in the world, but the guys that I worked with were a mess, and you had to kind of rely upon the guy working next to you, and you couldn't do that. So it was amazing. I hated that job. But everything else, I don't think I've ever said I hate that, but he said, "I effing hate this place," and got busted on camera saying it. So interesting. But so anyway, that coming out of the world of sports as well. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to give us a shout, go ahead and do so. Stay tuned. We got well, you know what? We'll answer some questions when we come back. Hang in there. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The NASCAR Series returns. Secure your tickets to see the big guns roar around the road course in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. For all the racing information, go to roadamerica.com. That is roadamerica.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
And reminding you that you can save some money. All you got to do is throw in that patio door. Do the math. You buy 3 Pella windows, save $500 when you add a patio door. You buy 6, do the math, save $1,000. Just add a patio door. You buy a dozen windows, add a patio door, save $2,000. You see how that works? In addition, they have got 6 full lines of windows. They have the a couple lines in the vinyl, in the economic and energy-saving vinyl. They've got Impervia windows, which is really stronger than fiberglass. And then they've got the wood windows from traditional to contemporary, from the economical all the way up to the home beautification, top of the line, best of anything windows. They've got it all, and they're fantastic. And just because you end up with a vinyl window doesn't mean it's a cheap window. And you get a tremendous amount of quality, obviously, with the wood windows. And then you get to choose the interiors, the exteriors, roll screens, slider windows, hardware, you name it. Choose all of that. But you can't do anything if you don't call them. 855 Pella WI. That's 855 Pella WI. Or go to PellaWI.com today. PellaWI.com today. And tell them we sent you. I tell you that the windows that I look out here every day are Pella windows. They're fantastic. My new door has been ordered, and when that goes in, I'm going to videotape it and shoot it and all that kind of good stuff, and you're going to see him put it in here at the house, and maybe we'll even throw a camera in front of it to watch progression. But it's going to be great, and I'm looking forward to it. That'll be the last patio door in the entire house. Everything will now be completely replaced in my home. Took me a couple of years to do it, but it's great. It's great, and the savings has been, especially this year when the heating and such went up, the cost went up, it really did save me some money. And it's been great. And I did have my house over the last couple of years appraised a couple times. So, and every time they make note of it, the windows and doors. So Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, 855 Pella WI. That's 855 Pella WI, or go ahead and go online, PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com. There you go. Danica says, I think Brewers fans are overreacting. This team is going to be able to hit again. I'm looking forward to getting to Miller Park, and she still calls it Miller Park. By the way, I got to ask this question. Why are some people so hell-bent on calling it Miller Park? Like it's angering to them. I don't understand why. I saw this the other day. I posted something regarding American Family Field. And I mean, habitually, I still call it Miller Park. It slips. It just does. Okay. I've called it Miller Park since 1999. When I first came on the scene in the state of Wisconsin in 1999, it's been Miller Park. So I still call the Oakland Raiders, or the Las Vegas Raiders, the Oakland Raiders. It's the San Diego Chargers are still the San Diego Chargers to me. When they move, it takes a little while to kind of get out of that habit because you say it so much, specifically doing this job, and it becomes part of your nomenclature. So, but there are some people that are just like pissed like angry. Screw that, and like they're mad at American family. To this, I don't understand. I never understood it. I never understood that. Why are people so mad that at the name change? They just refuse to call it American Family. Me, I'm like, look, hey, Miller was offered. They turned it down, didn't want to do it. It's not like they're not serving Miller beer inside, American Family Field. They're still there. And American Family said, we'll step up and help you make some money. I don't see what's wrong with that. I don't see why you wouldn't support that. I don't understand it. But some people are adamant about it. So sometimes you kind of question them and you say, okay, what are your motives? Other times you just look at them and go, you love your team? Yeah. Then what the hell's the matter with you? What aren't you getting about this? Don't understand it. Don't understand it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Give us a shout. I got that going on as well. It's just so many different avenues to go down. So many different avenues to go down. But good stuff today. Real good stuff. Got another hour to go. Hey, by the way, coming up in the next hour, speaking of that, the new special teams coach for your Green Bay Packers just left the podium a little while ago. You're going to hear that conversation. So that's going to be coming up. We're going to hear from them here in just a little bit. Also, Tom Clements, the quarterback's coach for the Green Bay Packers, also was at the podium. We're going to hear from him as well. So that's coming up in the next hour. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. 877-867-1670. By the way, one other side note to all of this, and I got this note from a friend of mine who said that Brian Anderson is doing the Nets game tonight, and he actually texted his wife this morning to let her know he's okay. Brian Anderson in Brooklyn, near the area where the shooting took place today. So good to know that Brian Anderson's doing okay. Heck yeah. Thank you for the information, Stacy. Good stuff. Whew. Didn't realize BA was in Brooklyn doing the Nets game. I mean, we all knew that's one of the reasons he's not calling Brewers games right now is because he's doing the NBA postseason. But I did not know he was in Brooklyn. So glad to know he's okay. Glad to hear it. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Kenny says, one call, that's all field has a nice ring to it.
I love that idea.
Oh, my goodness. I've always thought that should be the bullpen call, the call to the bullpen. It's always been what, the U.S. Cellular call to the bullpen? I've always thought so. It would end up being the one call, that's all call to the bullpen.
They need to bring back the cart.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's how they save baseball.
Yeah. Bring back the bullpen cart. The baseball head where you sit in its mouth and it brings you out. I agree with that. But they don't they don't have that ability to open that gate up anymore like that. Right. And you certainly don't want the bullpen cart anywhere near the field or creating ruts in the field. I mean, come on. These fields now are treated like, like sanctioned sacred ground and cathedrals and such. You can't even get near it. God forbid you're a reporter and you walk on the grass behind home plate. Oh, my goodness. You ever done that, Ben? You ever covered a game where you walked on the field?
Not as a reporter. I've done it pregame as a fan before, but that's kind of like at Augusta. If you touch some of their sand or try to take some of the dirt away, they'll put you in jail forever.
Yeah. They'll
kill you.
It's funny because I have been to stadiums where it's the field turf. It's like the AstroTurf type of stuff, the field turf, and they still yell at you. Get off the field. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm hurting, but okay. I don't know. All right, we got another hour yet to go. Hang in there. A lot more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Brewers are 1-3. That's after falling in Baltimore 2-0 yesterday afternoon. Milwaukee's offense continued its early season struggles as they're now just 2 for 22 with runners in scoring position in the first 4 games. The lone runs of yesterday's game came in the second inning with a single by Cedric Mullins to score 2. Adrian Hauser took the loss for the Crew. He went 3 2/3 innings, allowing the pair of runs on 4 hits. He walked and struck out 3. Giving the same 2 teams tonight out east. Eric Lauer on the mound for the Crew. First pitch is at 6:05. Turning the Bucks, they're back in the practice flow today as they start to prepare for their first round playoff series against Chicago. Milwaukee, the number 3 seed, the Bulls, the number 6 seed. The 2 teams met 4 times in the regular season, all 4 games won by the Bucks. Chicago had the worst record of any playoff team since the All-Star break. Game 1 is Sunday at Fiserv Forum.
For nearly 40 years, ABC of Wisconsin has been helping men and women transform themselves into well-paid, productive members of their construction teams. Have you thought about a career in a skilled trade? These are the types of skills that could secure your future. Jobs that can't be outsourced to someone overseas. Be in demand. To get your career started, go to buildyourcareerwi.org.
Well, Tom Clements says he had no interest in returning to coaching until Aaron Rodgers called him earlier this offseason. That's what the new Packers quarterbacks coach said this morning when he met with the media for the first time since he was hired. Clements has been credited in helping a young Rodgers turn into one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. He spent last year out of coaching following 2 seasons with Arizona. Meanwhile, a new offensive line coach, Luke Butkus, says he expects tackle David Bakhtiari to return to his all-pro form. Bakhtiari missed all but 1 game last year in trying to return from a torn ACL. And the Badgers were on the field for practice number 10 of spring this morning. They'll be back out there on Thursday. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Anticipating our opening day at home, the home opener at American Family Field. We're going to be live from Stenny's second and National Walker's Point down in Milwaukee, and from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., come on by. We're going to have the Bloody Marys, food, all that kind of good stuff. Get some Bud Light specials and such going, some MKE beer specials going as well, MKE Brewing, and then we're going to send you off on the shuttles down to American Family Field, check out the Brewers, the Cardinals, and then we don't have to drive, don't have to fight the traffic. Just go on down, because it's not going to be a great day to tailgate anyway. Because Thursday's supposed to be like a high of 40 with wind between 25 and 40 miles an hour, which is going to put the wind chills low 30s, upper 20s, depending on how high the temperature actually gets. You're not going to be wanting to tailgate in this stuff. I know it's a tradition, but no. Come on down, enjoy the day, sit down, listen to the program. Kevin Holden, CBS 58, our buddy Andrew Wagner. My longtime buddy Chuck Freeman is going to be with us, too. We're going to have a good panel going on down at Stenny, second and National Walker's Point, all brought to you by our friends at Bud Light and the Bud Light Seltzer. Come on by and say hello. We're going to have a great time going on this coming Thursday. The new special teams coach for the Green Bay Packers, Frank Bisaccia, he just ended up going to the podium and addressing the media for his first real long, or Rich Bisaccia, not Frank, I'm sorry, Rich, for a really lengthy Q&A, and I wanted you to take a listen to this because special teams became so prevalent, obviously, in the postseason, and led to the ultimate demise. That and the very poor offense after the initial couple of drives led to the demise of the Green Bay Packers. And here's Rich Bisaccia talking to the media.
Big questions. I just want to give our thoughts and prayers out. It's been a difficult last 2 months to some degree in the National Football League for a lot of us. Obviously, we all know what happened with Dwayne Haskins. That's, lose a young man, his caliber, character, and person he was is difficult. And then for me personally, Stan Parrish, who was our quarterback coach in Tampa, we won the Super Bowl, longtime college coach, just passed away, along with Gary Brown, who I was with for 5 years in Dallas, longtime professional player and coach, and then 2 officials. We lost Johnny Greer and we lost Wayne Mackey here in the last 2 months. So it's not to be a downer. It's to certainly celebrate life. But I always try to talk to our players, and I had a chance. We all visited with coaches the other day about, QTL, quality time left in life, and to lose some young people and some guys that I've been with personally is always tough for everyone. So the National Football League is about a lot of things. Certainly perspective is one of them. With that, excited to be in Green Bay, and I'll take any questions you may have. Rich, why come here? Why come here to the Green Bay Packers? Yeah, the Green Bay Packers. For me personally, the opportunity to be at one of the marquee National Football League teams that sets a standard, has an expectation to play to that standard every day, along with my excitement and my new energy after meeting and visiting with Coach LaFleur, what he's done here in a very short period of time. It's unprecedented. He's all football. And, be back with Joe Barry, who I've been with before. We won a lot of games together, 2 different places. And again, just to be a part of a franchise that expects to win, and the standard is winning it all. And to be a part of something like that is, to me, is energizing.
Where do you start when you try to fix these special teams?
In the beginning, it's personnel related, it's scheme related, it's people make the difference, right? And if you can get good people at a great place, then magic can happen. So we're going to look in every nook and cranny to see what we can do to make ourselves better.
Have you looked at the film from last year and what needs to be fixed? I mean, how do you fix that?
Well, we're just going to improve everything every day. There's not one specific thing. I think everyone wants to look at one play, or 2 plays that happen in the playoff game. But you can go back over my career. I mean, we won a Super Bowl in 2002 and got a pump blocked in the game for a touchdown. So, but still won the game. So I think you can look at every game as a special teams coach. It's rare that you come out of the game and you pat yourself on the back and go, yeah, we had a hell of a game today. There's just too many plays, things go on. So we're going to look to try to improve in everything we do every day.
What makes good special teams?
Makes good special teams?
Yeah, what are the elements that you need to be successful?
It's a philosophical start of we're going to try to put a unit together that cares about each other, that knows what to do, competes with relentless effort, and improves every day. And that's going to go along with what Coach LaFleur is trying to do with our team, but that's going to go along with the units that we're going to put out there on the field. They have to have an expectation that we have a one-play mentality. You don't get 3 downs to get it right. We have one play to make a difference, and they have to understand the significance and the criticalness of that particular play. And I think if we can get that across, we'll play better.
Playoffs last year. What was your confidence level about maybe getting that job full time? And I mean, did you think there was a good, strong possibility, or did you kind of know they were going to go outside?
I respect the question, and last year was a unique year in my personal career, and certainly with the players and coaches that went along with it. A lot of credit to the coaching staff I was involved with, and the way in which the players approached every day and what they dealt with. But I'm really, I'm here in Green Bay. I'm excited about what's happening here today.
Rich, you got 3 kickers right now. What's the plan there?
Yeah, just kind of see who's who and what's what as we get going. I haven't really had a chance to see the 2 of them. I know Dom pretty well. We had him for 2 years over there with the Raiders, and he's a good player. I know Crosby for a long time. He's had a hell of a career. Actually had him back in the Senior Bowl when he was coming out. So the one good thing I know about Crosby is that he's come back from a down year to play really well. So I'm excited about being around him, learning from him, seeing what his strengths are and where we can go forward and keep improving.
Have you ever had 3 kickers before? And how do you
we've had 3
kickers. All those guys?
Well, we're fortunate. We're getting ready to have OTAs and some of those, practices where we get a chance to evaluate different kickers as we go through. And I don't think we'll go to training camp with 3. I think we'll go to training camp with 2 after I visit with, obviously, Brian and Coach LaFleur and see how that goes. But I'd like to see all 3 before we make a decision on one of them.
What you like about what Keyshawn did for you with the Raiders?
Yeah, Keyshawn's he's just a really good teams player. He's got a great mentality. He's fast. He's physical. He don't take any shit from anybody. He can really run. So I'm excited about Keyshawn being part of the Packers. Can't say that, can
I? Matt was talking about you at the league meetings a couple weeks ago. He used the words "fiery dude" to describe you. Has that always been kind of a part of your coaching approach? And how much does it help if it on special teams in this?
I appreciate all the kind words from Coach LaFleur. I'm just kind of short, bald, and Italian, and then maybe that makes me mad at everybody. I don't know, but again, I'm excited to be with Coach LaFleur, I can't wait to get up in the morning and coach football, right? It's just what I've done for so long. It's a way of life for me as well as it is for the other coaches here. And as far as special teams go, again, I kind of live in a one-play mentality world myself, so I'm just really concentrating on the moment and being where I am and seeing what we can do, what I can do, what all our players can do to improve every day.
Do you go back and watch special teams tape from last year, or do you just want a fresh start with all the guys going doing that?
I did. We watched all the games. But we also watch all the games from all the teams in the league. We kind of go through cut-ups of all the things that happen around the league, and certainly we did that with the team that we have here as well to kind of put some type of evaluation on not so much the scheme, but kind of the effort that guys have played with, and kind of some of the fundamentals and techniques that we all use around the league, how they did with some of those things. But we watched all the tape.
Why did you become a special teams coach?
Oh, that's kind of a deep question. I think in the beginning, when I first started coaching, after get done playing, I played teams. We played teams, played both ways. But as you first start coaching, they kind of split it up. So the running back coach would have the kickoff return team, and the linebacker coach would have the kickoff team. And so at some point, I've been a part of all of it, like most coaches are. And then at South Carolina, I think Sparky Woods had gotten to the point where he felt like he thought one coach being in charge of the special teams, as he had an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, although they had assistants with them, I think he felt like if one coach was dedicated to doing that and coming up with the schemes, it would have a better sense of detail, a better sense of, maybe progression, how you install an offense, how you install a defense. So that's where it first started for me. He gave me that job. And it was at the time when, if you remember, Frank Beamer was the coach of Virginia Tech, and they were blocking punts, and he was the head coach. And it started to become a big deal in college football. And then all of a sudden it took off in the NFL. There was less position coaches that were coaching special teams. It was more hiring special teams coordinators to just do special teams. And when you do that, now you're just watching all that film all the time. It becomes extremely specialized. It becomes detailed. The schemes can change from week to week. And so it just happened that the next job I got at Clemson, South Carolina, I was special teams coordinator and coach running backs. And then went to Ole Miss, and the same thing. It just kept becoming a part of my resume, I guess. And then just one day I got a call about coaching special teams in the NFL. I never thought about getting into the NFL. I never tried to get in the NFL. I got the call one time from a team in the NFL to interview for the job, and that's kind of how it happened. I actually got the job, and 2 days later I left and went back to Clemson. So that tells you anything.
Is it a thankless job?
No, I don't. We're just coaching football. We're not curing cancer, or we're all coaching football, and we all have a certain zeal for players, and we have a certain zeal for competitiveness. We have a certain zeal for detail. And so I just feel like I'm a teacher. I just happen to be teaching football. I happen to be fortunate enough to, be doing my passion every day. I think it was my dad, along with probably everybody else's dad in the room, that said, if you can go to work and enjoy what you do, you're never going to work a day in your life. So I've been fortunate to do that for the last 39 years.
You said you were looking forward to getting together with Crosby and learning from him. Is that a common trait for you or coaches in general?
I think for me, being in the National Football League, way back when, I'm going to learn from players. I think when I watch tape and I want to ask them, coach me up here. What were you thinking here? Whether it was good or bad, I need to know what they see as well. Coaching running backs for a long time, I think the common mistake is maybe I'm telling them where to run. I'm telling them where the hole is and those type of things. I think you have to ask them what they see. And I'd like to know Mason's routine and what's been working well for him and what does he think he'd like to change. And then I'm going to explain to him again what our routine has been and what's been successful for us. And hopefully we can get a mix in there that can not only make him, but the other players as well successful at what they're trying to do.
You mentioned the block punt in the Super Bowl, but you've had a lot of success as a special teams coordinator overall. Obviously, you've built quite a reputation for yourself. Why do you think you've had the success that you've had?
Well, I've been fortunate to be around a lot of good players, and a lot of players that have bought into the 4 things I gave you earlier, and a lot of players that have been excited about playing professional football for a way of way of life. And so it's really just, it's player driven. It's certainly an opportunity to teach football and maybe teach some life lessons and maybe get guys to find a way to be the glue to the offense and defense. We use a phrase around here about we fence. It's not really offense. It's not really defense. It's kind of we fence. It's us. There's no other place on the field except the punt team where you could find a linebacker lined up next to a tight end, lined up next to a safety, and the running back is the personal protector making all the calls. That's the only place you find that on the field. There's offensive players, there's defensive players. When you get to the punt team or kickoff, or players from offense and defense line up next to each other. So I think a lot of my success or the success we've had in special teams, places I've been, is really player driven.
How do you feel about having a veteran?
Hold on, go ahead.
How do you feel about having a veteran punter like O'Donnell?
Yeah, we're real excited about being able to add Pat. I tried to get him 4 years ago when I first went to Oakland, and didn't work out. And now that he was available this year, Coach LaFleur and Goody were great about our conversations about seeing what we could do to try to get him. He's been a proven player, not only in the league but in this division. He's played real well in bad weather. He's played outside his entire career. He's a tremendous athlete, wonderful holder. And his job at holder is to make everybody right. He's got to make the snapper right. He's got to make the kicker right. And so he's done that for a long time. He's been with good kickers and he's been with good snappers. So I'm real excited about having him part of our team.
Sorry, Rich, 11 stars on offense, 11 stars on defense. Do you feel you need 2, 3, 4 guys that, aren't getting a lot of snaps on those sides of the ball to be kind of your stars and guys that really just take the bull by the horns?
The star syndrome is great. I just think we need players. We need to get some players in here that we can have good competition at all the positions, whether they're playing linebacker or running back or receiver or whatever it is. And we'll find a group of guys that make up, the initial core. For us, it all starts at the punt team. You got to find those 6 guys that can play in the box, from tackle to wing on both sides, and then the personal protector that can direct them and all be on the same page. And then from there, those guys can usually fan out to play the other 3 phases that we need them to play in. But we got to be able to put a punt team together that can protect the punter and then transition right into becoming a team that sets the defense. My favorite thing about punt team, it's the most transitional play in all of football, right? It covers the most yardage, but you're an offensive player first. You have the ball, so you're protecting the punter behind you, who essentially that's your quarterback. And right away, it transitions into a defensive play. You have to fan the field. We're a one-gap team, and you have to understand how to leverage the returner, and you got to set your defense now. And that's kind of how we approach the whole thing, but it starts with the punt team players.
When you're inheriting a group that had the kind of season that they had last year with not any success, is there got to be a mentality change, or just enough to keep it on the schematics? Do you have to change the mentality in the room as well?
Well, I just think that, within the construction of Coach LaFleur's philosophy, and then the 4 things I gave you about what we'll expect our unit to look like, that's what we're going to try to do. So if you want to call it a mentality, it's a one-play mentality. And if you want to call us a unit, we'd like to think of ourselves as a we fence unit. And what makes up the we fence unit, those guys got to learn to care about each other. They got to know what to do, and they got to do what they know. They got to compete with relentless effort, and they got to find a way to improve every day. And that's just, there's going to be a standard set, just like there is for our offense and our defense. There's going to be an expectation from us that we're going to hold them to the standard. And I'd like to think that they're going to set a standard for us, for our little core of teams coaches, and I'm going to expect them to hold me and to hold Mike and to hold Byron to that standard as well every day. And we'll see where the chips fall after that.
Thank you, guys.
There you go. That's the special teams coordinator, Frank Bisaccia. And when we come back after the bottom of the hour, we're going to hear with Tom Clements, and or I keep calling him Frank. It's Rich Bisaccia. And we're going to hear from Tom Clements, the quarterbacks coach, the new old quarterbacks coach for the Green Bay Packers, as he went to the podium a little bit earlier today as well. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Buy more, save more with a patio door.
Wait, what?
Right now, at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, the more windows you buy, the more you'll be saving by adding a patio door.
Miss Della from Pella?
Please, call me Gina.
Okay, Gina Della for Bella? Like, I was told there'd be no map.
Like, that's okay. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin makes it easy. Now through April 30th, when you buy 3 Pella windows, you'll save $500 when you add a patio door. Buy 6, save $1,000 with a patio door. Buy a dozen Pella windows, save $2,000 when you...
Add a patio door?
Correct. And along with 6 full lines of windows, traditional to contemporary, Pella of Wisconsin has financing to fit most any budget.
Awesome.
Buy more, save more with a patio door, but only through April 30th. Set your free consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Glad you're with us today on a Tuesday, a day in which a lot of news today, a lot of opinion today. Brewers coming up later on tonight, game 2 of the series with the Baltimore Orioles. Hopefully the Brewers can get a win, kind of curb a little bit of the angst that is taking place right now throughout Brewer Nation. People upset, people nervous, people worried about whether or not the Brewers are going to be able to kind of get off the schneid in this. So hopefully Brewers get a win tonight and stem the tide when it comes to the the angst right now. This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends over there at Cunis RV. Go to CunisRV.com for all your RV, camper, travel trailer needs, all that kind of good stuff. Cunis, Kunes, CunisRV.com. That is CunisRV.com. And take a look. Take a look what they have. They got a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff coming up right now. We got a lot going on in our own opinion area here, as a matter of fact. This one is from Roger. Roger says, I think the Brewers are going to be just fine as far as Aaron Rodgers goes. He needs to get into camp and work with some of the young guys once they are drafted to get them on the same page. He does not have time to develop somebody over the next 2 to 3 years. He's only got maybe 2 years at best. Which, Roger, that's kind of my point was, look, if he gets on the same page and just trusts a guy and goes out and starts winging it, that's fine. I'm good with that. But you can't turn around and say, as the season goes on, they got to earn my trust. Well, how can they earn your trust if you're not there? The report was that he was not going to be there for the voluntary workouts and such. When you got Brady already wanting to get into camp and, just trying to get his guys and going through tape and all that kind of stuff. I guess the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have again asked him to view some of the possibilities when it comes to incoming wide receivers or such that can play offense, just to look at some of the film for the NFL draft. So I'm sure Rodgers, I would almost be 100% sure that Rodgers is probably talking to the Packers. I'm sure they probably gave him some footage or some film and said, hey, take a look at some of these guys. Tell us what you think. Do you like Olave? Is he a guy that you could maybe see yourself throwing the ball to? Would that be a guy? Is there somebody else? Is Jameson Williams? Are you willing to wait for him to get, that knee better? Is he a guy that you could say, okay, maybe we go in that direction? So do you look at these guys? Traylon Burks out of Arkansas, do you have him look at some of these guys and say, yeah, I like this guy. He runs a good route. He does this, he does that. Do you allow him that kind of say? That's what he was wanting. Was that kind of say? Do you go in that direction? 877-867-1670. So if indeed they do choose one of the guys that you really think could be beneficial, it probably is. It would behoove you almost to go in and try to get there early to get these guys on the same page, right? You would assume. 877-867-1670. Again, 877-867-1670. You want to find us, go ahead and if you want to chime in, give us a shout there. 877-867-1670. This one is from Mark, who said, after reading through so you read the report on the Washington Commanders. He said, I almost felt sick. I feel bad for any Washington Commanders fan that was sitting out there waiting for tickets, as everything that was going on was illegal, and we should see Daniel Snyder go to jail. If Roger Goodell continues, and he's got the NFL in parentheses, if Roger Goodell, the NFL, continues to block the investigation, then Roger Goodell should be held accountable as well. What are your thoughts about the other owners? If you mean, what do I think the other owners are thinking? I think two things. One is the other owners are thinking, we sanctioned this guy to come in and be one of us, and he screwed us. The other thing I think owners are thinking is probably, especially if you're an owner that's got your hand in a cookie jar, there, but for the grace of God, we better start cleaning up our own backyard, because if the NFL is called on the carpet by Congress and this oversight committee, and they say, no, we're giving you antitrust exemption, you are going to give us what we want, or you're not going to get antitrust anymore. I think the NFL, unless they have seriously something to hide, is probably going to cooperate from this point on. If they don't, then you better believe the NFL has something to hide. And that would make them, as whether it's a large amount or a small amount, as dirty could be. I just, I have not absorbed all of this from this report that came out earlier today, but it's just sickening. It really is. Really, truly is. And then you've got our other topic of the day. Casey says small market team that went to 4 straight postseasons. Could be worse. Could be the Dodgers. Highest payroll nearly every year since 2010 and as many championships as the Nationals in Kansas City. Redefine what success is. I like to figure out what each team's players pay and per win. Every year, the Crew and the Rays are going to be at the top. They don't have the high payroll, but they have a winning culture. Give Craig Counsell a $200 million payroll one season, and it could be legendary. Casey, I kind of like the way you think. I do. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up. You're going to hear from Tom Clements, quarterback coach of the Green Bay Packers, coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Start your engines and win a 2022 Chevy Camaro SS with a Pepsi Pit Stop presented by Jack Links. Stop by Quick Trip and purchase any participating Pepsi, Rockstar, or Jack Links product with your Quick Rewards card and earn an automatic entry. 10 weekly winners receive a $500 Quick Trip gift card and 4 NASCAR Quick Trip 250 tickets. And a chance to win a Chevy Camaro. The Pepsi Pit Stop and NASCAR Quick Trip 250 are your first stop to summer excitement.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Glad you're with us. Bill Michaels Show. We continue on. A lot of stuff going on today. We're going to hear from Tom Clements, quarterbacks coach for the Green Bay Packers, coming up here momentarily. I don't know about you, but grilling season, tailgate season, almost upon us. What a better way to kick it off than stopping over to Quick Trip and getting some of those bacon-wrapped pork fillets. They've got them. They got you covered. On sale right now. 99 cents, limit 5. They are sure to make you a hit at any grill out. However, let's say you don't want to go with the pork fillets. That's fine. Grilling season's upon us. Brats, hot dogs, buns, condiments, beverages. They got it all. They got it all. Stop in a Quick Trip. You can even get the hot food. You don't even have to cook if you don't want to. That's fine. Fried chicken, fantastic. Burgers, fantastic. Stop in. Quick Trip's got you covered right now. It's grilling season, but the special, the 5-ounce bacon-wrapped pork fillets right now. If you're looking for other groceries like white bread or butter, they've got that as well. Good stuff over there from our friends at Quick Trip. Let's do this. Two of the specialty, or the coordinators, so to speak, or coaches for the Green Bay Packers, we're at the podium a little bit earlier. We heard from Rich Bisaccia just a little while ago. And now Tom Clements, the new, yet old, if you will, quarterbacks coach for the Green Bay Packers. He had just gone to the podium as well. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, thanks.
So what brought you back?
Delta. No.
Right off the area.
Right.
Beyond that.
No, it was just after the season, Aaron contacted me. He had talked to Matt, wanted to gauge my interest in coming back. I said, yeah, I'd talk about it. And then talked with Matt a couple times. When he was out for the, I guess, what was it? The show before the Super Bowl. It was in LA where I'm staying. We got together, talked a little bit more with Aaron, and it just worked out.
Had you felt the itch at all during your time away, or was it that conversation with Aaron that made you think maybe this is something you want to do?
Well, I had been in Arizona 2 years, and then that was the year of COVID, and I didn't want to go through that again. So I basically went back to LA. I couldn't see my family. They couldn't travel. You tested every day. So I didn't want to go through that again. So I retired. And, I've always been a fan. I'd watch all the games. So I really didn't have an inkling of coming back. And then just the situation arose where, as I outlined it and considered it and decided to do it.
So you felt pretty good about that Aaron was coming back this year?
Yeah, my talks with him, we didn't talk extensively. We just talked a couple of times. I think that was my first question to him. You know, what are you thinking? And, you know, we just talked about it, and I felt good, fairly confident that he was coming back. You know, he's had the team and he have had some great years, and still has a good chance to contend for the Super Bowl. And I'm sure I know that's what he wants. He wants another Super Bowl. And that was one of the things that intrigued me also.
You looked at, you know, how he's played the last couple of years. I'm sure you've watched a lot of film. What does he look like in this offense? What does he look like compared to, you know, when you last had him, what was that, 5 years ago?
Well, I know, looking at it from afar, I thought he was playing a style more like when he was younger, because playing more under center, play action passes. In the later years that we were here, it was more of a not too much under center, exclusively shotgun, more of a spread offense. And in the early years, we relied on the running game and the play action pass, and got in the shotgun more on third down situations like that. And that's more the style that I saw. So it's when you can run the ball, it opens up a lot of things. And, you know, there've been a lot of explosive passes over the years off the play action pass game. And hopefully we can continue that.
Is it safe to say that you wouldn't have come out of retirement if Aaron's answer had been different? If he wasn't back, you probably wouldn't be here too.
Anywhere, or I mean, well, as I said, I didn't have the itch to come back. It was because of coming back to Green Bay with Aaron, chance to win a Super Bowl. Those were the primary considerations.
How do you talked about the difference in how he's played and also schematically. How do you kind of fit into Matt's offense, especially with as much experience as you have with Aaron in a totally different offense?
Well, there's a lot of things. It's kind of a hybrid. A lot of the things that Aaron's done for his entire career that Matt has implemented into the scheme. So it's kind of old Green Bay, the things that Aaron's very comfortable with, the things that he has tons of reps in. He knows what to do instantly based on what the defense is doing. And then some new type plays and a new approach. But when you look at it, if you look at teams throughout the league, everybody runs kind of the same plays. It's just what you emphasize, and you have some tweaks here and there. So it's a lot of old Green Bay that Aaron's comfortable with, and a lot of new things that Matt's implemented.
What do you know about Jordan Rodgers, and what are the challenges in developing and improving his game?
Well, anytime you have a young guy, it's unfortunate that the system isn't the same as it was when Aaron was young, and I mean the off-season program, because we used to spend 8 weeks just exclusively with the quarterbacks, going over everything, doing drill work on the field for 2-3 times a week, just 45 minutes, quarterbacks alone. So that allowed them to really learn the offense and to develop the techniques that you need. And now that the off-season program, it's you lose about a month of that. So you have to try to work that in as best you can. But it's always fun to work with a younger guy, trying to impart some knowledge to them and see how they grow. So I'm looking forward to it.
Did you and Aaron talk like last season, last year during your time? Was it pretty regularly even then? Or?
No, when I was coaching in Arizona, obviously I'd see games throughout the league, and if he had a great game, I'd text and say, congratulations, and so it wasn't consistent. It was more sporadic, and so we've kept in touch a little bit, but not extensively.
What did you do during your year away?
Well, I drank a lot of Peroni beer. And complemented that with some wine. but that was it. Before I went back to Arizona, I had been working with a friend of mine out there who has a real estate development company. So I did that for 2 years. But then when I left Arizona, I was just hung around with the dog, drinking beer.
You've been around a lot of coaches. How would you describe Matt's style?
From the offensive style?
Just how he runs a team.
Well, obviously I've only been here with the coaches so far, but I mean, he's obviously done very well. I mean, to win as many games as as the team has, you know, in the 3 years, it's pretty impressive. I think he's got a good bunch of guys on the staff, work together. They have a lot of fun together, and you know, he's directing what he wants, and he does it in a good way. So I'm looking forward to seeing it even more when the players get here.
How about you reflect on your role in Aaron Rodgers' development in your previous stint here?
Well, as I said, we spent. I came in Aaron's second year, and you know, Brett was still playing for the next 2 years, and we had that, what I call that off-season program quarterback school, probably for. I mean, we had it every year, but in those early years, Aaron was there for the 8 weeks that we did it. So for, you know, 3 or 4 years, you know, we were spending a lot of time together. So it was fun to see him develop. I remember the first game that he really had some playing time was when we went to Dallas and Brett got hurt early, and Aaron came in. And, you know, he played like he was an old-time vet. And we always saw the ability that he had. We thought he could be good. But then when he went in that game, that kind of confirmed it. And I think it was after, I guess it was Brett's second year when we lost in the championship game. We went over to coach in the Pro Bowl. And, you know, I was talking with, Joe Philbin and I were talking. You know, we had, I can't remember who our quarterbacks were, but we said, hey, Aaron's as good as these guys, probably better. And you never know that he's going to go to the point he has, but he certainly had the ability. So it was good to see him progress.
You had a chance to watch Jordan Love's film yet, or happen to have caught some of his previous short stints in preseason or in Kansas City?
Well, I've watched some film, and then I watched him when he was coming out. I was in Arizona, so I have a little bit of familiarity with him. So, you know, he's a very good athlete. I never had the opportunity to talk to him prior to me coming here. I've talked with him on the phone a couple of times. He'll be here in a week, and looking forward to getting to know him a little better. But he's, you know, he has a strong arm. He's athletic, and those are good qualities to have. And we'll just try to develop him as best we can.
Aaron's brought up to us the last couple of years your 3 mortal sins that still stick with him. Are those 3 rules? Don't throw late down the middle, no blind throws, and no premeditated decisions. Are those still the rules for him?
Absolutely. Him and any other QB.
It's
good that he remembered that.
There you go. Tom Clements, quarterbacks coach for your Green Bay Packers, and talked about coming back, and he came back because of Aaron Rodgers. We all knew that was happening. No doubt about that. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back, wrap things up on the Tuesday edition of the Bill Michaels Show. Coming up next. Don't forget, coming up, less than 48 hours away, we're going to be doing our opening day broadcast live this coming Thursday. Going to be down in Walker's Point, brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. They are the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network, and we're going to be down there hanging out at Steny, Second and National Walker's Point. They run shuttles to the game over to American Family Fields if you want, and it's going to be kind of crappy weather on Thursday. I don't think I should say kind of. It's going to be crappy weather. It's going to be cold. It's going to be really windy. I guess they're saying 20 to 45 miles an hour when it comes to the winds. So it's not going to be real conducive to putting a tent up. Maybe not even be conducive to a good tailgate when it comes to, fires and such. But we're going to be down at Steny's starting at 10 a.m., 10 to 2 coming up this Thursday. And hopefully you can come by and say hello and can have some good guests on hand. It's going to be a lot of fun. So come on by and say hi. 877-867-1670. Don't forget, coming up later on tonight, you've got the Brewers back at it yet again. They're going to be taking on the Orioles later on this evening. 6:05 first pitch. By the way, the other games, there are some day games today. You're going to have right now the Tigers and the Red Sox knotted up at 3 apiece. Top of the 6th right now with Boston batting. That is in Detroit. You've got the Mariners and the White Sox getting underway here shortly. The Cubs and the Pirates as well. And you've got the Reds and taking on the Guardians at home. The Reds with their opening day parade and Findlay Market parade and such. That's getting underway later on today. And then a full slate of games on the docket as well. St. Louis, by the way, tonight hosting Kansas City in a good rivalry game there. 6:45 Central Time. Cardinals 2-1, Royals 2-2. Those two teams get underway later on this evening as well. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Cavaliers and Nets tonight. That is scheduled for 6 o'clock. And it's funny because I got word that Brian Anderson was in New York and in Brooklyn. And for those that are just tuning us in, there's been a shooting in the subway. They are looking for a suspect who donned a gas mask just before the shooting, threw a canister in the subway of green smoke, and then just opened fire. And they found other undetonated packages in the area. They're still looking for the gunman who injured 10, I think he ended up shooting 10, injured 16 people total. Thank God, non-life threatening. But I ended up hearing that Brian Anderson was on the call tonight in Brooklyn. I texted him, and I didn't know if I'd hear back from him or not, but actually I did. So I just said, it's good, good to hear that you're okay. And he said, yeah, scary. Happened near the Nets practice facility. So Brian Anderson on the call tonight in Brooklyn for the Nets and the Cavaliers. The other game of interest tonight, Clippers and Timberwolves a little bit later on this evening. That's for the play-in game in the West. 7th place in the West, 7th and 8th place in the West. So there you go. But yeah, it's kind of a scare in Brooklyn. So glad he's doing okay. Glad things are good. Then the big story of the day in the world of sports, and you're probably going to see a lot more of this. Daniel Snyder underreporting ticket revenue per the investigation, and all the documents that have been sent to the Committee on Oversight and Reform before the U.S. Congress. It's a 20-page indictment, basically, of the practices of the Washington Commanders. Via many allegations, everything from scamming their fans, scamming people who had passed away out of seat licenses, scamming the rest of the owners, hiding money from the rest of the NFL. All of this that came to the surface because of that sexual harassment investigation and the hostile workplace environment investigation that Congress is now conducting into the Washington Commanders. It is, I have not seen much, if anything, come across ESPN or across the ticker on TV, but it's been everywhere on Twitter, and I would assume you're going to hear a lot more about this in the coming days, because this is a very ugly light, not only on the Washington Commanders, on their owner Daniel Snyder, on others on the inner circle, but also on the uncooperative nature of Roger Goodell and the NFL during this investigation as well. And they specifically state in this 20-page letter that the NFL is not cooperating, which leads you to believe, okay, what is the NFL hiding? in all of this, or other owners for that matter. So this is something that maybe we're just now seeing the very tip of the iceberg, and it could get a lot more ugly. So wait for additional word on that. But I retweeted it over on Twitter, where you can actually go grab my tweet and then go and look at Warren Sharp's the rest of the allegations. Read that 20-page letter that was sent to Congress. It is unbelievably indicting. So we'll see what comes out of that. So that's going to do it for the day. It's been a hell of a day. We didn't really even get too deep into the NFL draft. I wanted to a little bit more with Andy Herman of the Pack a Day podcast and talk a little bit more about it. But obviously the events of the day dictated the conversation. So until we talk again tomorrow, hey, continue to make plans coming up Thursday morning, 10 to 2. We're going to be live at Stenny's. It is going to be the Brewers home opener, and we're going to be on site down there. There's shuttle buses running from Stenny's down to American Family Field. If you want to come down, park your car, join us, Bloody Mary, beverage or two, head down to the ballpark, come back, and then pick your car back up, and you're good to go. Should be a great day. Until we talk again in